Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Gray Area here on the Black Man Unfiltered Network, simulcasting on the Sparta HQ Network. I'm Mr. Bennett, joined as always by my partner,
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Poniotis. Yasu, my brother, what's going on?
What is going on, everybody? We have a doozy for you guys.
Yeah, we've been working this. It's fair to say for months, literally for months. This guy's always certainly been in our radar for a while. He's well known in these spaces, and on several different platforms and whatnot. So he's made a name for himself famously and infamously. But we felt that we wanted to get him on. I mean, obviously in the gray area, we love bringing different people on to talk about their backgrounds, share their life experience, especially the veterans. And we couldn't think of anyone better than to bring this gentleman on. So Ghost, if you want to bring our main guest in for this evening, you can take it on.
So we've been marinating this for a while. He is a Jedi. He is a talker. He is a trainer. He's a boxer. He's a martial artist. He's an Army veteran. Do I have any of those? Let's bring this guy up here.
He's the most interesting man in the world.
Yeah, let's bring this guy. Boss man, go ahead.
Our guy, your guy, everybody knows in these spaces, Mandrell. It is good to see you, my brother. Happy New Year, and I say this with all sincerity. It's certainly it's a pleasure to have you on tonight. I've been looking to do this for a long time, so welcome and make yourself at home here. How you doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. I got some rest finally this weekend. I got some long naps and things of that nature. I didn't have to stress out too much. Definitely a sign of the empty nesting that hopefully is on the way. And so we're just enjoying life over here and just doing our thing. So life is good here, man. Life is good, man. But
it's an honor to have you on, dude. It really is a pleasure and an honor.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. All right. So Ghost, you want to take it on first?
So I asked this to all my guests. What is your relationship with the military?
My relationship with the military?
Mm-hmm.
I got buddies who are still in the military. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. Like, I support the military. What exactly do you want to know?
Well, let's start from the beginning, because one thing I do know about you shared that you come from a line, if you will. There's a long established family history with your family service in our armed forces. So why don't we start there? As far as you want to go back, I don't know if you're supposed to go back to Christmas Addicts, but if you want to just break down where. Oh, shout out to you in this space as well. Also, just before I go into it, sure, I just want to make sure again. Thank you for everybody who's come in tonight. We got Catellia in the house, lost in translation as always. Joshua Jones stepping in for a minute. We got certainly King certainly in the building tonight. So again, thank you all guys for joining us tonight. As you see scrolling at the bottom of our screen, you see our Cash App. So again, we ask that you certainly consider supporting the Black Man Unfiltered Network, and certainly any Cash Apps that you drop to us personally, we'd appreciate. So just make sure you do that. But at the very least, just hit the like button when you come in, both, like I said, both here and on the Sparta HQ Network. Just make sure that we support the platforms. But yeah, why don't we start there with your lineage of military service. So why don't you start there, and
or like maybe why you joined, what motivated you?
I get to that. That's actually kind of simple and funny to me. But both my grandfathers served in World War II. They're both in the Army. My dad's dad, I didn't know he was in the Army until after he died, and they had like his rank on the headstone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, granddad was in the Army? Yeah. Now my mom's dad, I remember him telling me stories about him being in the military. He did the Army for a while, but they kicked him out. Look at this, sleepwalking.
Wow.
Seriously?
That's what he said. Okay. That's what I was told.
Unreal.
So it was for sleepwalking, but they served. They both served in World War II.
And back then, these were segregated units, or were they integrated? Segregated units.
Segregated, yeah. It's the 40s. So
Right, and I know that
yeah,
I know the armed forces weren't officially desegregated until 48 with Truman, but I wasn't sure if there were units that might have been desegregated prior to that, though. So that's what I was
no,
asking.
and if they were, go to my granddad, he wouldn't want to be in an integrated unit,
Interesting. Okay. Mhm.
you know. But my dad's dad didn't know that he served, but he did. And so then I started asking questions when I saw the rank and the headstone, and we left. Granddad was in the army. He said, "Yeah." I said, "Really? When? In the World War II?" I said, "For real?" You know, because they had both of them. They have a big family. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
5 kids.
Mhm.
So, but I have a great uncle. Um, my mom's dad's brother
Mhm.
was in the Korean War,
Mhm.
and one of my mother's brothers, he served in Vietnam, like
Mhm.
in Vietnam. You
Right.
know,
Oh wow.
so then there's the Gulf War. My dad went to that. You know, and then we have GWAT, which is my generation. GWAT, my dad served in that too.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean? So yeah, both my grandfathers, great uncle in the Korean War, um, another uncle in Vietnam. I have a bunch of aunts and uncles who joined like the Air Force. I got a cousin who joined the Marines. I got a cousin who joined the Coast Guard for
Mhm.
whatever reason. But I think of them all the time. I think of them
Shout
all.
out to all vets, all of those who won Coast Guard, National Guard, everybody. We don't
So,
discriminate on
Paul,
this
you
show.
understand? People in the service would not consider the Coast Guard a part of their
I
branch.
know, but
You ever seen that movie, that show on Netflix, Space Force?
yeah, I heard it.
Yeah.
Do you just see how everyone's at the meetings and then the guy from the Coast Guard comes in? You see how they treat him? It's like that.
It's like that.
It's like that.
I hear
Everyone
you. I
from
hear
the
you.
Army and Marines, we all big brother them. You know what I'm
Gotcha,
saying?
gotcha. Now, where you kinfolk? Because you're talking about going all the way back. Where you kinfolk mostly from? Alabama. I know you're from Alabama. So where
That I know mostly from Alabama.
all from that? Wow, wow.
Yeah, but my grandparents, they have siblings who moved all over. I got a great aunt in Colorado. I got
Mm-hmm,
family in Chicago,
mm-hmm,
New York. Tons of them are up in New York. And so they
mm-hmm,
started families there. So now, they have families, generations there too.
mm-hmm,
Chicago, Boston, none in Los Angeles, thank God,
mm-hmm,
because it's California,
mm-hmm.
because of the fires.
Right.
But, but yeah, family all over now.
Mm-hmm,
Since our grandparents, siblings, their generation, they kind of went other places for jobs and stuff like that.
mm-hmm.
Job opportunity in New York, Detroit, other places.
Right. So
Families.
was there like an urban migration from like Alabama to like those cities, and then folks
Mhm.
came up from there, and then okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Yeah,
Atlanta,
same. My family also. They
Atlanta, tons of family in Atlanta, especially
mm-hmm,
like New York and Alabama is where the bulk of them are.
mm-hmm.
Do you ever have like a big family reunion, or you guys get together in one spot?
Every 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Every 2 years. Very
Mhm.
good. Very good. Very good. And have you trotted your like any ancestral studies or whatnot going back even further than that in terms of your folks? So,
Yeah.
but as far as you know, Alabama's the spot.
Yeah, as far as I know, because like my grandmother, she's Creek Indian.
Mm,
Well, regardless, so she was Creek Indian, 100%.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Grandfather, he's a High Chi, part of the High Chi tribe. And the High Chi
mm-hmm,
tribe were kind of like cousins or a sibling tribe to the Comanches. They came
mm-hmm,
from the west. You
mm-hmm,
know, after the Trail of Tears and everything, took everybody northwest. Some people from the south out there in the Texas, Nevada area, they migrated east, and they ended up in like Mississippi, Alabama, Florida mostly because they were trying to go to Florida.
mm-hmm,
You got Seminoles and everything down there. There's a lot of
mm-hmm,
neighboring tribes that just stayed in Florida,
mm-hmm,
and a lot of them got to Alabama. Just let's settle here.
mm-hmm.
But you had the whole Jim Crow era and everything like that, and they kind of how ignorant people are.
Mm-hmm.
They see you have darker skin than them. They just categorize them as black. They
Mm-hmm.
use that word. They use the other word,
Right, right.
but that's just what they are. So they're just like, fine, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
just leave.
So your
Really,
ethnicity is kind of blended. So you're definitely native, several types of Native American ancestry, African American, obviously, of course.
that's my dad's
You
side.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Dad's
Awesome.
side is definitely African American. That's all the way down the line.
Right, right. I hear you. I hear you. So just bring it up to the current day. So obviously, again, your dad. It's weird. I'm still old enough to remember very vividly, like Desert Storm and whatnot. So your father was active from jump. So you were born into this. When you were growing up, did you guys move around a lot? Were you mostly stable in? Did you travel a lot? Did that typical army brat type of syndrome, was that something part of your life growing up? Tell us about that.
What my dad did was he did all of his active duty before I was born. He had
Okay.
switched to National Guard. He didn't want to get all the way out the army.
Hmm.
He still wanted to be in the armies, but he wanted to have a civilian life too and start a family, things like
Hmm.
that. So
Mhm.
he switched to the National Guard. And that's when, things like Desert Storm happened. A lot of those units got activated.
Mm.
So, so when you need help, you need help. Active duty, reserves, National Guard, a lot of them got activated. I remember him being on alert a lot. I remember seeing this stuff on the news, and I don't know, it didn't scare me. Like, my mom was worried, my sister was worried. I remember her crying one night.
Hmm.
I don't want him to go to war because he might get killed.
Mm.
Me, I was just, come back. Good luck.
Right. And shout out, you since you did mention her, shout out to Shushu Shamara. Obviously, she's been also in the BMU spaces, and I know she's doing some big things, certainly with her acting career. Just want to let her know that we miss her certainly in these spaces as well. Hope she's doing well with everything that she's doing. So just shout out to Shushu and
Yeah.
everything that's doing. So it's basis. You two. Do you have other siblings besides you guys?
It's just us two.
Just us two. Just you two. Gotcha.
Yeah, and my dad doing that, I thought it was the coolest shit in the world, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like he'd go drill on weekends, come back in the uniform with his TA-50 and all that stuff. I
Mhm.
thought that shit was cool. Like, and I go in there and play with his shit, his stuff, his TA-50, like his army stuff.
Right.
I get in trouble because you don't want the kid to lose anything,
Mhm.
because once you get out, you have to turn all this stuff back in, and anything missing, you have to pay for.
Right.
I get yelled at all the time for that. Like his
Yeah. Now
canteens.
I understand you were quite the rambunctious young man. Both your mom and your dad coming from this place of discipline and whatnot. And your mom seems to be one of the sages or whatnot. But Mr. Mandrell, young Mandrell, little bit of a head scratcher there. So who was little Mandrell, and what was that like growing up with Mandrell in the household?
Little Mandrell was a happy-go-lucky kid with a devil-may-care attitude. Happy-go-lucky, always a smile on my face, laugh at everything, found the humor in everything,
Mm.
but do stupid shit too, like do backflips off the roof of the house, or like try
You're a
to.
daredevil, weren't you?
Yeah, I was always, like, even as a baby, like when I joined the army, and my mom, the only thing she knew was airborne. Like that's the
Mhm.
only thing she knew, right?
Mhm.
She knew army, airborne. She was airborne. You jump out of airplanes. So my mom was like, "Why would you do something like that? Why would you jump out of airplanes?" My grandmother, I remember her saying, "Why are you surprised?" When he was little, he used to jump off of everything. Like I used to jump out of trees as a baby, barely able to walk. I used to take those, those plastic bags you get from the grocery stores.
Yeah.
I used to take the handles and put them in my arms in between them and
You
jump
think it
off
was
the
gonna be a
bed.
parachute?
Right, and jump off the bed.
You learned about gravity real quick, I'm sure, though, right?
She couldn't stop me. Look, I would hurt myself. I'd get back up and do it right again. Just do it
Man.
again. Just stupid stuff as a kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Man.
I do. So my grandmother, she wasn't surprised. My
Mhm.
dad wasn't surprised either. Me going SF, because he's like, look at all the stuff he does. Like, I mean, look at the movies he watched.
Mhm.
I watched Predator 8,000 times, Commando 9,000 times, Delta Force with Chuck Norris, like all those action movies, Rambo. I would watch that shit over and over and over again.
So your dad
I
was
watched,
into those films? He was into.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's surprised, because I know a lot of vets. They kind of, some of that stuff they cringe at in terms of that wasn't really what it was like. Or this is Hollywood and whatnot. So a lot of guys are critical, but your dad kind of ate that up.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's an
push back
action
on that
movie.
ball a little bit because there's
Mhm.
some veterans I know personally. Like like again tonight, and like he was telling me, "Oh man, I want to be like Rambo. I want to eat snakes. I want to do this. I want to do that." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you're like, "Fuck service. I want to be the kick-ass motherfucker over there." I'm like, you're fucked up in the head, but yeah, cool."
Yeah, I get what you're saying because I know some vet. I get what he's saying though, but because I know some vets like that too. The older ones are definitely like that, like Vietnam vets and Gulf War vets. A lot of them just don't, because some of them find them triggering. And like you said, there's some guys who are like, that's not how it is. I see the movie magic in all of these films myself, and there's a lot of times I'm like, oh, please, like take Commando, Golden Oldie, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah,
he's the guy who inspired me to lift weights. To be honest, it was Arnold and Lou Ferrigno.
Right.
You know, but anyway, he sets up a claymore mine on a building, runs, sets off the detonator, and the entire building, this 2-story building, just goes kaboom. And I'm like, with a claymore, no.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask this question, Mandrell.
One claymore, no.
As a veteran side, what movie would you pick? Is as close as possible with a Hollywood twist, not as bad as close to real life?
13 Hours.
Okay.
They got so much right with that film, even down to the things that they were saying. The things that the guys were saying to each other. Like there's one scene where they finally make it to the consulate to get the ambassador, but then there's one guy, Tonto, was trying to get through the gate. And he's like, and one guy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna call the bad guys." "You're gonna do what?" "I'm gonna call the bad guys, negotiate surrender." "How do you know their phone number? How do you know who the bad guys are? What the F you, you know what I'm saying? What do you mean? Who are you talking to?" That Tonto, the real guy, he actually says he said that wasn't movie magic. That actually happened. I actually said that. And so like the guys who are actually there, those contractors, they vouch for a lot of the stuff in the film.
Yeah, that is true. Actually, I'm going to
they vouch for a lot of stuff in the film. So, and it does a good job of showing you how combat really is. It's really hardcore, fast paced for about anywhere from 7 to 10 minutes, and then it's just this lull.
So I was going to say, Adrian,
then it starts back up again.
I had a pleasure actually meeting Tonto in person. He signed my book and everything. And what you saw on screen, that's how he is in real life. He's cracking jokes, and he goes, and he's in the middle of the stage talking about it, like, probably a bad time to tell you guys I need to take a shit. I'm like, did you say that in a movie? I'm like, yeah, I was shooting and I had to take a shit. That was the worst part of the gunfight.
That happens though. That happens. Like when because your bowels won't stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just pray you don't eat a bad piece of fish or something.
Yeah, for real.
You caught in the train.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I got you.
It got to the point where one time, of course, we're deployed and we're getting mortared, and I'm in the latrine. So fuck it, I'm not coming out. I get hit.
Yeah, what a way to go, but hey, you gotta go.
Because most veterans I know who went through combat, they all have two big habits. Is one, they're big drinkers and they're smokers. Did you pick up those during your service at all?
Alcohol was never really my thing. I drink, but it was always social. It just wasn't a thing for me. Smoking, I did pick up out of curiosity. I said, "What's the big deal with this? How do you get addicted to cigarettes?" And then I tried it. I was like, "Oh my god, how do you do this long enough to even get addicted? This shit sucks." Right. You know what I mean? You got to keep doing it, man. You got to get, but no, just stop. If you don't smoke, I've never met a smoker who told you to start smoking. Never.
I'm an ex-smoker. I'll tell you myself. I tell everybody who I see a cigarette or a vape in their hand, like, you are better quitting now before you get addictive. I'm like, oh, okay, I want to get addictive.
Yeah, chew. I was about to ask you that too. So, but you went to the chew as well, the big chew, tobacco. Yeah.
That's one thing I never tried from God.
Yeah, it's cool. I can take it to Canada. Yeah, Copenhagen. Everybody did it. Everybody was dipping Copenhagen. You know what I mean?
I got you.
And I tried that a few times. I didn't like it. I don't understand the point. Like that, and that's the thing with me. Ever since I was born, things have to make sense. They don't make sense. I'm confused, and I just don't do it until it makes sense to me.
Right.
You know? unless I know what I'm getting myself into, like the Army. A lot of stuff just didn't make sense. But I would do it anyway because, hey, this is what needs to be done.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't understand why, but fine. I was told to do it, so here you go. Good
So
job,
Right.
Davis.
I do have for you right now. Why the Army, not the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard? There are so many branches. Why did you pick the Army?
Because the Air Force recruiter was a dick.
That's one way to do it.
Seriously.
That's
He was
one,
that guy was a world heavyweight cunt.
right.
He really was, man. Because I went to the Air Force recruiter first. Because where Montgomery, Alabama, there's 2 Air Force bases there in the city.
Hmm.
One on one side of town, one on the other. You know what I'm saying? 2 actual Air Force. One of them, Maxwell Air Force Base, is the headquarters for JAG. The headquarters for
sweet.
all lawyers in all of the Air Force. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? The JAG headquarters is there. So, but anyway, so Air Force is a thing there, but
Now you said you went to them, or they came? Because I'm assuming
Well,
back in. Let's go back a few years. Did they recruit you in high school? Were you So
they tried to recruit me. Yeah, because
Mhm.
12th grade is like anyone wants to take the ASVAB. The ASVAB be administered on Wednesday. So you meet in the cafeteria, blah blah blah. Oh, that loudspeaker,
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh, okay, what's the ASVAB? I didn't even know that. My
Mhm.
dad, 20-year veteran at this point, 20 years of experience at this point. I don't know what the ASVAB is, but
Mhm.
anyway, someone told me it's for the military. I said, I
So
don't
you
want to do
weren't.
that.
So even though you come from this long background, military was not necessarily on front of mind. You didn't think, well, okay, going into your senior year of high school, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to join the military. So what were your interests? So what kind of student were you, and what were your interests at the time that you were thinking out before you made that decision?
I was a good student. Well, a decent student, I say.
Hmm.
Let my parents tell it. But
Hmm.
you couldn't bring home bad grades. So again,
Right.
it's just I did homework because I had to do it.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I did whatever because I had to do it. Read because I had to.
Hmm.
But my interests, sports, always sports.
Hmm.
I would play any sport.
What was
Baseball,
your first that you I guess organized sport that you picked up?
football. I
Football.
played in the Pee Wee leagues. And my mom tried to. I think she set me up though. I think she did.
Mm.
Okay, so I wanted to play organized football for like a school, right? Or over the other side of town where the kids who come from families with money play. You know what I'm saying? They have all the greatest, best equipment. That's why,
Right.
right? So the equipment and stuff they're wearing. Yeah, I want to play with them. So my mom takes me to one of the roughest neighborhoods in 3 fucking counties.
Mm.
Okay, and tells me I'm going to play football there. I'm like, okay, cool. To me, it's just football.
Mm.
Boy, these kids they weren't fucking around, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So she thought that if they roughed me up,
They
I
would
wouldn't do it
switch
anymore.
you.
But I stuck with it. You
I
know
was
what I'm saying?
about to say, shouldn't she know better? You're the one who's doing backflips off of the house, off the roof of the house, or whatnot. That was I would say a miscalculation.
Right.
Yeah, I would say if she tried to get you push you away, you got pushed in deeper at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. I just saw that coming a
I
while
remember
away.
what happened. One of the kids, okay, you're doing hit drills, right? One kid has a ball, the other one defends and tries to tackle, right? So me and this one kid going at it like rams all morning long, going at it to the point where everyone would stand back and watch us, right? Like, yeah, like the coach was like, you and you go over here and do this, and we had to like run up this hill together. He made us train together. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we're doing hit drills. It's his turn now to get the ball, right? He comes at me as fast and as hard as you can. I fly back. And I remember feeling to this day the back of my head sliding against the ground and my legs being in the air. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, there's no way. I gotta get I gotta get my I gotta get him back for that. So so was my and so the coach was like, okay, that's it. You two are done. Because I had run through him before, right? And I was running through him. I was giving him juke moves, spin moves. I was doing all this super WYSIWYG stuff, just
Right.
getting past him.
Mhm.
This guy finally gets the ball and just runs right through me. I had never experienced anything like that before,
Mhm.
ever.
Right. Right.
And my first instinct was to get up and do it again.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't a run because I could have quit. And these things you think about now, but you didn't think about back then.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it was football first. And then one night, my dad's family had a watch party, right? Fight party.
Mhm.
And they all met
Who was
at my
fighting?
I'll tell you, they all met at my grandmother's house. And then, the undercards are going, people fighting.
Yeah.
And it's my first time watching a live boxing event, right?
Mhm.
But I'm sitting there and it's like, yeah. And so everyone's talking. All of a sudden, this huge fighting god comes on the screen.
Mhm.
Saying a word, there's more music playing. He's got a towel wrapped around him. Gets in the ring with these black shoes on.
Yep.
Off
No
his feet,
socks.
no socks. And he's just straight face. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
He gets in, just demolishes this guy. I
Mhm.
mean, I was like, it was like the third round or something like that.
Mhm.
This just beat up. Literally quit. And I was like, I want to do that.
Mhm.
So a couple of days later, I asked my dad, I said, Daddy, I want to try boxing. He's like, you want to box? Yes, sir. I want to box. Okay. So like a week later or so, he says, come on, Carlos, let's go. All right, cool. Come on, let's go. All right, cool. So we go for a ride. And then he takes me to this gym. And it's a boxing gym. And I'm excited and nervous all at the same time. Excited and nervous all at the same time. And so we get there, and the guy makes me do push-ups, sit-ups, jump rope, stuff like, just regular stuff, to get me to work out. And so that went on. I got in the ring and sparred, you know what I'm saying? And I had this exchange with this guy. I'm getting my head warmed up because I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just swinging. This dude is just tagging me.
Mhm.
So okay. So my dad's laughing. Okay. He's outside the ring laughing.
Mhm.
Laughing at me get ate up. Anyway, it kind of pissed me off. I didn't like being embarrassed in front of my dad.
Mhm.
Same thing with my mom in football.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? And I felt embarrassed. I didn't like that.
Mhm.
So the next day I went, and I went almost every day since,
Mhm.
That's
So there's a pattern developing here. So your parents, in their wisdom, tried to dissuade you from doing things, put you in these hostile environments to get you get beat up. But the outcome was that you wanted more of it. Oh, thank you. This is I want more. I want more. Feed me more.
He's
Seemed
like
to be the outcome
he
of
was a
this.
crack addict. He got his first shot. Come on, dude. Come on. And he went into it. And as much people, I see this all the time. People say you can't do that.
Mhm.
Oh, fuck you! I'm gonna do it.
Right.
If I met Junior Mandrell, you can't jump off the bridge. He's gonna jump off the fucking bridge. Most
Right.
likely.
But that's a
No, actually-
mindset, and that's something you can't teach. That's just in the individual. That's like fight or flight. You're gonna throw them in the water, they're gonna swim or drown. And it's like in both situations, he was put into not an ideal, the toughest situations, and he came out on the other side saying, "Look, I can take this." So I mean, if I'm a parent looking at that or whatever, I'm like, yeah, we got to let him go because anything we put him into, he's just that dude. Not a lot of people are like that, but you certainly find out a lot about a person.
Yeah. Of course, at the time you don't know that about yourself. You don't know what it is. It's just you're just going with it,
Yeah.
Then yeah, that's what it was. I got into
Yeah,
boxing.
and of course that fighter that he was talking about, I certainly relate to that as well. Now I know I was never motivated to be like a boxer, like not on that level because I didn't have the frame like he was or whatever. But Mike Tyson, I mean, 1985, I saw him for the first time on ESPN, and I was just like beyond mesmerized. I had never seen anybody fight like that, and see anybody have that kind of movement, that kind of speed, power. Everything. So it was just like every day at lunch because he fought back then. He fought like every 2 weeks on ESPN.
Yeah, he
And
did.
so that was like the topic of the lunchroom the next day in high school. We were just talking about Mike Tyson, and so he like I said, that it totally just, I was already a fan. Sugar Ray Leonard before him, and obviously I started following boxing. Ali was like sort of like at the end of his career. He wasn't the float like a butterfly guy like he used to be. But yeah, my Mike Tyson was just like arguably my first true sports hero. Like I was just enthralled, and it was just he just I just follow him everywhere. I mean, it was just
Yeah,
unbelievable. So I
he
understand
was.
how you could be motivated by seeing a guy like that, and you kind of have his frame. I mean, you're kind of built a lot like him. So did you see literally just based on at that time that you kind of saw yourself in him, like being him? Like I say, you said I can box, but did you kind of fashion your style that you could fight the way he fought? Did you see yourself in his shoes?
No, no one knew the peekaboo style like that.
Hmm.
So you know what I mean. I had to learn boxing and just add your own flair. You add your own flair to it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, the head work, the head movement, the footwork, all of these things. So
Mm,
once you learn that kind of stuff, you kind of make your own style.
mm,
Then watching people like Marvin Hagler,
mm.
who's
Oh,
still to this day one of my all-time favorites. Period.
ferocious. Yeah.
Yes, that's who I kind of model myself after because I
Mm,
saw that being a much more obtainable goal. Mike Tyson,
mm.
he was a ladder I would never. I didn't see myself getting to that level.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
But it didn't stop me from trying.
right.
You know what I'm saying? He's that ladder that you climb, but you never find the top of it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It
Constant.
was on. Like I said, it was. We couldn't believe what we were watching. It
Exactly.
was just like, there was no. So even though the peekaboo goes back to like Jose Torres and Customato taught a lot of guys that, but again we weren't in the libraries like that watching that. But this was like a modern incarnation of it, and we just didn't know like what are we watching here. So I totally get the looking at that as being such a level that's like wow, that's just unreal. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And granted, when I got into the amateurs, I was doing my thing. I was winning and stuff like that. The amateurs is when you start losing too. Like
Hmm.
that's your time to lose.
What were your so when first of all when did you pick up a pair of gloves? When did you start, and what weight class were you at the time?
About 13 years old,
13.
and
Okay.
yeah, I forget what weight class I was in
Hmm.
at that time. You know, what I mean, you're a child. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know, I wasn't spectacular like Mike Tyson.
Hmm.
14, 12, 13 years old,
Yeah.
195 pounds, 5'9".
Yeah.
No,
Right.
that wasn't me.
Right.
195 pounds, you're a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
He's what,
No, he was like a
13?
baby Huey. He was
Right.
just like man child.
I
Yeah.
wasn't that.
Yeah.
No, but I did put on muscle really fast. I have those kind of genetics. I put on muscle really fast. So I did gain weight quick.
Were you weight training at that time?
Yeah, because I played football too.
Okay.
So when you got into junior high school, they put you on a weight program. I
Hmm.
remember like weight program. Yeah, well, you go lift weights. I'm like, okay, cool. I go in. So I met with them after school and go into the I think it's the training room or whatever it
Hmm.
is. But anyway, there's some weights there: bench press, leg press machine, squats, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And the wrestling team was in there as well. The wrestling team had that section of the building. The weight room was in this other room, past the wrestling mat. So I followed the guys in there. We're lifting weights. My first time lifting weights, 14 years
Hmm.
old. And that's when the game changing happened.
Hmm. Now, did
I
you
got,
pick up to the weights like almost like
yeah,
with the boxing
yeah, I
things?
did.
Like you put the weights in your hands, like this is this
Yeah,
is it
because
too. Yeah.
because the next day I was so sore. I was really, really sore. I didn't understand what was happening. I didn't know what
Hmm.
was wrong with me. Because again, no one's telling me this stuff. My dad did lift weights. He did calisthenics,
Hmm.
push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups. And
Yep.
he did a ton of them. But um, lifting weights the next day, I was so sore. But it was a good sore. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I thought, yeah. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. I used to stretch my arms out to make my biceps hurt.
Mm.
The soreness
Right.
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Start doing squats. Hated squats from day one. From the first time I did them
Hmm.
to this day, I hate
Hmm.
squats. hate the barbell squats.
I do too, but I love them.
You have to do 'em.
I can't stop squatting. That'll be as long as God will, as long as I can do them for as long as I'm doing. I'm not giving up squats.
Mm-hmm. These days I wrap my knees though.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, so that's junior high school. I was playing football in junior high school, so I started lifting weights. After the football season started, ended. Got back to the boxing ring. Ding, poof, poof, and I was practicing my jab too. I had a nice stiff jab like Larry Holmes, and I just, poof, guy did like this, and they hit him with a 2, and then I hit him with a 1-2, poof, done. And I was like, what? I didn't understand what was going on. But then, you think about it, you talk to people, they're like, oh, it's because you're lifting weights. Oh, okay. Stop lifting weights. Stop lifting weights. I'm being told at the boxing gym to stop lifting weights. That'll make you slow. I mean, the guys on the ground, I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a guy who just, before that, I couldn't handle. He was one of those people who had been doing it since he was like 7 or something like that, like way like before me. And I started early. He was using it before me. But yeah, he was. That's when I was like, okay, there's utility here with weight training and boxing. I'm just gonna keep doing it, but I'm just not gonna tell a coach that I'm doing it.
Gotcha.
So that's what that happened. I fell in love with boxing though. Even the exchange, especially if you're in a good exchange with somebody. Yeah, fell in love with it.
Wow.
Fell in love with it.
Yeah, it's I think it's an old school mentality. I think a lot of more boxers certainly are into the weightlifting and strength training these days. But yeah, but that was all sports back then, right? I mean, 70s and 80s. If you play basketball, coach was like, "Don't lift weights; it'll make you muscle bound. I'll throw your shot off." Don't eat. The only guys who really incorporated weightlifting was the football program and some of the wrestling programs. They were introduced it, but weight training, like I said, until like the late 80s and 90s. It was just something that just wasn't encouraged in some of these other sports, but now everybody's doing it now, regardless of your sport. You can be on a fencing team and you got a weightlifting program, so it's.
I think you're right, Paul. It's a myth that everybody says you lift weights, you're going to get slow, bulky, and all this
muscle
stuff.
Bound. Yeah,
if you do it correctly, balance your body correctly, you don't focus on one muscle only, but you focus on all of them, do the whole body, and do it once a week or twice, or whatever your program is, and you watch your diet. You're actually become faster, not slower as people think it is.
Depends on the exercises that you're doing. Like if you're working your fast twitch muscles, that helps out. If you're working your back, like you got the cable machines for cable crossovers. You can take one cable, have it behind you, and just twist your body with a punch.
Yeah.
People do that now. And exercise science has come a long way since the days of yesteryear.
That's right.
Which, especially the days of Sugar Ray Robinson, who I still say today is the GOAT. That's pound for pound. Pound for pound, that is the greatest boxer who ever lived. Sugar Ray Robinson.
Yeah.
For me now, for me, not Leonard, not Sugar Ray Leonard people. Sugar Ray Robinson. He was before Leonard, he was before Ali.
That's right. Now Floyd Mayweather is gonna say he's the GOAT, but you take that with a grain of salt.
Dude, you didn't fight anybody.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true. Okay, so let's move ahead a few years. So again, your amateur wrestling, your amateur boxing career. Do you remember like what your record was? And by the time you get to like your senior year in high school, are you still doing it actively at this point, or did you kind of tail off? Okay, so were you at a roads where it's I'm really good? The idea of possibly turning pro. Did that ever come to mind, or were you at a so where were you at that point?
I had a cousin trying to gaslight me into doing it, going pro, and becoming a champion. You can be a champion. You can be a champion. I'm looking at him like, you're up to something. Like, so that's why I looked at him.
Well, see that could have worked. Now again, your parents tried to get you into something, like they tried to connive you, then your dad tried to connive you. So again, who knows if you were in fact goaded into that? We could be talking to the former, I don't know, cruiserweight, light heavyweight. I guess at the time you're fighting weight. At the time we could be talking to an ex-champion right now. You never know.
True, but that was also an era where, like when I was in my mid 20s, like Roy Jones Jr. was in there. So, and as far as hand speed, he's probably number 2. Of all time.
Yeah.
How you gonna handle that? You know what I'm saying? At that time,
Hmm.
right now, yeah, you can touch him, he falls over.
Hmm.
But that
Gotcha. Yeah, I got you.
you've been talking about me probably. But
Right,
if it was,
right, right.
now let's get to that. High school, I'm doing pretty good. I took chemistry 1 and 2. I'm taking electrical engineering, mechanical engineering 1, 2, and 3.
Hmm.
So I'm taking all the nerd classes, but I played football. So
What
there's
position you a
seeming
running back? Running back DB?
strong safety.
Strong safety. Good. Mm.
Yeah. So then, so high school is kind of different because I was a guy who always did my own thing, with my own way. But so the nerds thought that I was a jock that was going to pick at them. The jocks thought I was a nerd who didn't belong there. So it's kind of like,
Where do
whatever.
you fit?
Yeah, where do I fit? So I
Mhm.
wasn't going to be friends with one of them. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that's why I just kind of like, fine. I'll find something to do. It didn't bother me. And it bothered them that didn't bother me.
Mhm.
The crazy part about it. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? I was into art and all kind of shit.
Mhm.
That's the era where anime was just now starting to come out. It would come popular stateside.
Yeah, yeah,
What year was this, you think?
It was in the 90s, early 90s.
yeah. I think
In the
Akira
80s,
came out in 88,
yeah,
89.
when Akira came out,
Mhm.
and Sci-Fi Channel played it because they had a marathon. They had
Mhm.
Akira, the Venus Wars, a bunch of them. It was just a marathon, and they do it once a year. So I caught it and I recorded it. But I mean, so I would sit there and I took art classes. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
All kind of stuff. So my interests varied. I was not
Mhm.
focused on one thing that everyone else is on.
Mhm.
I wanted to learn this. I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn that. I wanted to learn this. You know what I mean? What's this about? What's that about? Let me figure this out. Health classes. I used to take all because that shit interests me.
Mhm.
Biological science always
Mhm.
interests me.
Mhm.
Always. Psychology. So as far as my interests, they're all over the place. You know.
Right. So at
Um,
that time of decision, so again, you're going into your senior year. Everyone started thinking about going to college, or in your case, joining the military and whatnot. So, given the fact that you were varied, and I can certainly relate to that. I think Peter as well, where it's hard to kind of categorize us because we have so many different interests in different things. We never quite fit anywhere. But where did you at that time? Did you get a sense of where your fit was? What were you thinking about as far as career options and whatnot? You had the sports to kind of lean on if you wanted to go all in, play football at the collegiate level, boxing, taking it up to the next level, academics, you had that down pretty good. So what was the conversation that was going on in your head, as well as conversations you had with your parents in terms of what focus the direction that you need to go into and what seemed most right to you when having all
gotcha.
those options on the table?
Well, because everyone, so many people in my family had joined the military. Of course, that's what I was not going to do. Even though I liked army stuff, like military stuff, the movies, the equipment, I liked all that stuff. I wanted to learn how to shoot guns. I wanted to go out there in the wars and fight. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
wanted combat in action. I wanted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's done that. I'm going to do something different. I think I'll
Mm-hmm.
start with college. Like my dad, he started with the military.
Mm-hmm.
Mom started just going to work,
Mm-hmm.
and then went to college and worked at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to college. So went to college. You're broke. Your dad's sending you $150 a month. That doesn't do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to switch and go pro. So I box on weekends of these smokers. You know what I'm saying? Just to get a
Now,
little
pro.
money.
Now, hang on. Now, define pro. Now, again, there's different avenues in professional boxing, right? Guys go to Mexico. There's these sort of underground leagues. This isn't sanctioned IBF or WBA, WBC. So, what kind of pro are we talking about here when it came to the boxing thing?
A little of both. You just register as a professional. You know what I mean? They give you a pro card, and you register as a professional. They give you a pro card, so you are a professional boxer. So you start out at wherever position it
Mm-hmm.
is. There's so many boxers who turn pro, and they're under these different organizations. It's not funny. Like you can't even count them.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's just so many people, you know,
Mm.
and they do it for like food money and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you might not be ranked in like the top 25 under WBC or IBF or WBO or whoever, but you're still a professional. You fight and you're under their ranking system.
Mm.
So yeah, it was kind of both. But then you go to these different boxing events and stuff like that, and you meet people, and you talk to people like Bob Arum,
Mm.
who talks about he's seen you fight and stuff like that, and then I'm going to offer you a good deal, good contract. He talks to you, you talk to your parents, you bring the whole contract to your parents, stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, this contract is shit. I'm not signing this.
So hang on. So you actually spoke with Bob Arum? Bob Arum actually
yeah,
sought you out?
and done thing.
Wow.
You ever notice how you notice a boxer would just come out of nowhere?
Mm-hmm.
It's all marketing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's all marketing. That's it. This boxer might be 15-0, but you don't know a single person they fought.
Correct. Yep.
It's because they have a big promotion behind them now. And that big promotion is going to do just that. They're going to promote you.
Mm-hmm.
It's all marketing. So they're going to make sure because they have deals with these television networks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they make sure that their fighter is on a card for a big event.
Mm-hmm.
Like say it was a fight like Alexander Usyk versus Deontay Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
That fight hasn't happened, people. It's probably never going to happen.
No.
But just an example, two big name fighters, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm on the undercard of that fight. Holy crap, right? People see you. People know who you are now. And that's how the magic happens. You just have to keep winning.
You need a good agent.
Yeah,
you have a good agent. You have shit. And like people say, "Oh, Tyson got lucky and he was at the right place." Right? No, he found a good agent. Actually, agent good found him. They had good. Let me ask you a question really fast as a boxer. Like Jake Paul, what do you think about him as a fighter?
He's a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Not a funny one either.
Now, let me ask you a follow-up question. What do you think about the Tyson Jake Paul fight? Do you think it was
Well,
right?
I mean, I like that even though I like to see that even though Vincent Mann has stepped down from WWF or WWE, they can still put on good events.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I told you, Mr. Bennett, unless it's some kind of WWF, all right, when I do this, you do that. Second round, we're going to do this. And that's what it was. It was a scripted, nice little fight scene.
Yeah, script. Yeah,
for a Rocky movie.
I'm still just blown away by it. Got 60 million views. That's the thing that still gets me. So I think just going back to what we said earlier, I think the Tyson effect, that he's still a name certainly in popular culture, even with young people today. And then Jake Paul, obviously, he has his social media, and they were able to bring those together. But they basically broke Netflix, where they had to kind of get their service together, because now that's having the NFL games right now. And I think, I didn't see any issues when I watched the games over the weekend. So I think they fixed some things. So
even with Paul, they had no promise with it. What it came down to, end of the day, Jake Paul and Tyson had a great agent. They knew how to promote the goddamn fucking shit out of this, to the point, like, even people who are not boxing fans knew about this fight. It was shoved down our throats so much. Like, if people turn around, you know what? Let me check it out. And like, what is the big hype about? And a couple, a couple of the other fights before Tyson fight was like, they were pretty decent actually. It wasn't great, it was decent. But then you had the Tyson that was such a garbage. It felt like somebody shoved garbage down your goddamn throat. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, but Tyson, like, you can tell it was scripted, because there's plenty of times Tyson could have taken a shot and nailed him. Mm-hmm. He just didn't do it. There's times where he was in mid punch, but pull back. You see him pull back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. He did the same thing with Roy Jones. I mean, you could tell in that fight also. He was like, if I want to, I can land that Tyson combo, and we could just end this tonight.
Right. Let's do this right here. A little bit here for a second.
I want to do that. So it's like, look, let's get a good payday. Let's walk out together and whatnot, and let's just walk off into the sunset.
So we know you're a boxer. I personally know you're also a martial artist. When did you get into the martial art part of the world, the fighting?
Oh yeah, that was before boxing. I was doing karate.
Around what age did you start that?
That was
you said football. You said football was around like 12, 13 and whatnot. Weightlifting came shortly thereafter and whatnot. So
football was junior high school, 7th grade. No, before that, because it was Pee Wee League.
Hmm.
Played Pee Wee, and I took football very seriously when I got to junior high school.
Hmm.
Karate, I was already doing that because, like, my uncle taught it. The one who went to Vietnam, he was teaching karate, and my parents needed, you know, to pick myself up from school, pick me up from school, myself and my sister from school, right? So
Hmm.
when I started school, my grandparents would come pick me up from school, take me to their house, and then while my parents were still at work, they take me. Well, my uncle was going to karate, so I ride with him to where he taught karate. He taught it at a community center, right? So I was taking karate with him, and then my mom would come pick me up from there.
Now let me ask this other question because me and Poe have a little debate about who's the better fighter, boxers or martial artists. Which one's your opinion?
Can't be a good fighter without boxing.
I agree.
I hate you right
Yep.
now.
You can't.
I've been,
Boxing,
that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, you can be a great martial artist and not know how to fight, but there is no dojo for boxing, right? You
no,
you either got to do it or you don't. You got to throw punches and land them, or you don't. There's no, you can get at katas and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't make you a fighter. That's why, especially in the street, if you can either box or wrestle. Now, did you ever wrestle? Did you ever
yeah,
amateur wrestle?
yeah.
Yep.
I wrestled one year.
Mm.
Wrestled 1 year in high school. That's when I learned Greco-Roman wrestling. Still using that shit to this day in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's real. If you're in the street,
But yeah,
you either land
boxing.
from distance or you get somebody on the ground. You know?
And that's the thing. Most fights, like 95% of fights, end up on the ground. If you're on top, you're most likely going to win. And most people don't know how to get out of those moves and stuff like that because people are like, he's on top of me, I lost. It's a mindset too.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
I like to
Now
answer
to that
part.
question that Angry Snowman just asked. So it seems like you're kind of almost like I mean, you pick up football, which you enjoyed. You did well at the boxing. You did well at the martial arts. Of course, was there something that you struggle with, or just all these things just come to you just sort of naturally in terms of your affinity for them and just like I said, the skill set was there, or is there
Math,
something that you really had to struggle with to get good at?
math, and swimming.
Math is
Math was the one subject that I had to study for.
Mhm.
I had no choice. If I didn't
Mhm.
study it and keep studying,
Mhm.
I was going to forget.
Mhm.
For some reason, I could read a book and do a report 3 weeks later.
Mhm.
Hey,
Yeah.
math? No, I need to do homework. I need homework every night.
Right.
And I didn't understand it because it was just numbers.
Mhm.
That's it. It's just numbers. How do I not? But my cousin, I have a cousin, right? Math, he's doing algebra 3 in his head. And I was like, how in the world are you doing that?
Mhm.
I said, those answers aren't right. I remember one morning, we're on our way to school, in high school. He's doing algebra 3. He's sitting there. He has what he did was the night before, he just wrote the problems down. And then on the ride to school, he just started writing the answers in. He'd look at it, write the answer, look at it. Okay. Less than 10 seconds on each one. He's just right. I said, those answers aren't right. He said, watch. So then I get his homework after he's done. I look at they have the answers in the back of the book.
Mhm.
I look at the answers, every single one of them were correct. I
Mhm.
couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was math, swimming. Okay. I could swim. That was no problem. I figured out a way to swim. The whole thing, people doing this.
Yeah. Front crawl. Yeah. I struggle with that too.
I
Yeah.
was like, oh no, that sucks. But the breaststroke,
Mm-hmm.
I could do that.
Same thing. Same thing.
I figured that one out, right? Treading water, forget it. It took
Mhm.
so long for me to learn how to do that. Still to this day, I have trouble doing it. I still to this day, I have trouble treading water.
Now you're in the middle. Now we're gonna jump. We're gonna get to the military part later. So I ask you about you.
You got to hear this. Yeah, you got to hear that part because the swim test was a bitch and a half. Well, yeah, just floating, sitting there like this. I see guys doing this so effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, how are they doing that?
Hmm.
I'm trying that, and I just sink.
You think about just your muscle to body fat composition. You think that's most? Yeah, boss man saying most black people have trouble treading water. You think it's just a body composition thing with us that we just,
Probably, I don't know, man. I don't know. If I try to say anything, I watch all the other guys do, I would sink. And I just like, I don't get it. But anyway, yeah. So high school, I played football, so everyone knew me. You know what I'm saying? They knew who I was. I had done karate. Yeah, back to that. I was doing karate from a little kid, like first grade or whatever, up to like 12, going on 13. So, you had your black belt and all that stuff, but you're only 13 years old. You're not going to go out there and kick an adult's ass.
hmm
You think you can, you know? Right? So that's when I switched to boxing. I was 12, almost 13. 14 years old, played football for my junior high school.
hmm
And in the off season of football, I was boxing,
hmm
and football season come back, I do football. So I didn't get a chance to do baseball for school because, I like boxing too much.
Mhm.
I did, so, and I still would do my karate on the weekends, the katas and all that stuff, and
hmm
borrow my uncle sometimes on weekends and stuff like that.
hmm
But yeah, that was it.
Did
That
you
was
find did you find them complementary to one another? Did your martial arts help you with your boxing, or vice versa?
the boxing helped the karate.
hmm
I was lighter on my feet. You know what I'm saying? The
Mhm.
conditioning that karate. The thing is, the conditioning that comes with karate helped me with the boxing
Mhm.
because karate is heavy into condition. That's why you see karatecas, or karate fighters to this day, they're tanks.
Mhm.
They can take some hellified punches to the
Yeah,
chest.
yeah.
They're tanks.
Mhm.
It's because the condition is a big part of karate. So I was stronger than most by the time I got to boxing and football. But again, boxing, if you don't, it's one of those things where if you don't know what you're doing,
Yeah.
kind of doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
See,
What
most
was that?
people don't understand about martial art conditioning because I don't know about you, but my instructor used to just run on my chest. Like he lined us up, lay on your back, and just run across heel first. And I just built a
Oh
tolerance
gosh.
over time. He used
Wow.
to, as I was doing sit ups, you literally get on a chair, jump, heel first on my stomach.
Mhm.
And he used to sit there as I'm doing sit ups, boom, going out, get back up, boom. He's that kind of punching. Was your conditioning any similar to that?
Some of it, he punch you in the stomach. My uncle, he would like, when you see you doing the horse stance, right? He walk around and punch you in the stomach to make sure
Mhm.
the core is tight. You know what I'm saying? And it's to make sure the core is tight
Mhm.
because the core is everything.
Mhm.
That's where your center of gravity. That's where your balance is. And so in that way, it did help me with the boxing. And the boxing helped the karate too, because in boxing, you're twisting all the time.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to boxing, I understood the concept of pushing off with your feet first and twisting the body to throw a punch.
Mhm.
I understood the concept by the time I got to boxing. So the karate did help with that. But still, boxing is a whole other animal.
Gotcha. So
Boxing is a
let's
whole.
fast forward a little bit. So okay, so you're a young man. I guess you're in your late teens, early 20s at this point. You're a professional boxer. Obviously, you're getting some buzz because again, you got Bob Arum and Don King. You got these guys offering you deals, not necessarily the greatest deals. You got to consider those. So, at what point do you decide that boxing you don't see a future in it, and when and making that transition because obviously you end up in the military. So, talk about that decision time when you gave up at least boxing professionally. I think you still train in it, but there and then when this military pivot came, the thing that you said that you would not do or that you never wanted to do. Talk about that process and how'd you land in your military career.
The process came when I had a decision to make. I could either quit college and do boxing full time, or stick to doing what I was doing and just finish college, right?
Mm-hmm. What were you
So
majoring in? If you know,
psychology,
psychology.
yeah, because I want to be a psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm.
right? So then they came with those shit deals. I was like, fuck. I was like, fuck you. Fuck, I'm not signing that. fuck this. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that's when that whole thing came. And
Mm.
then Bob Aaron goes to talking shit. Don didn't. It's all right. Sorry, young brother. When you're ready, and you will be, come see me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Don took it like that. He handled it like that. No sweat off his back, you know. Hey, listen, I was at Alabama A&M University. No manipulation needed. Okay,
Alabama A&M. Shout out.
right. So yeah, that's when I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go ahead and finish college. I did finish college, and I was like, okay, what's next? Medical. I'm looking at the rest of what to do to become a psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
Medical school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing that. Hold on, how much debt do I have already? I had student loans and whatnot. I had a partial scholarship, but I had student loans and stuff. I was
Right.
like, oh, shit, I need to get a job. I got to start paying this off because government gonna start asking for the money. So September 11th had happened and all that stuff, right? Then I go to a recruiter's office, go to the guy with the Air Force. So I talked to him, and so we scheduled an appointment for me to come back there. He couldn't talk to me right then, I guess. There's nobody else in the office.
Mm.
He's there by himself, but didn't have time to talk to me about what the Air Force has to offer.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, yeah, I took the SFAT in high school, and then I forget what it was. It was like a 70 something, but I couldn't get the recruiter to leave me the fuck alone. Like he would call and hound me all the time. But anyway, fast forward to present day, right? I'm in the Air Force office, and this dude is just we scheduled the appointment. I said, okay, cool. So then he has my contact information. He reschedules. Said, okay, no problem. That day comes around, he reschedules again. This time, 5 minutes before we're supposed to meet, so I'm already there. And he tells me at the door, right? So then I leave. I said, hey, listen, man, I'm calling to reschedule this appointment with you. Keep in mind, like 6 weeks have passed now. I'm calling to schedule this appointment with you. What do you like? When are we gonna meet? Yeah, but yeah, let's see. Look, I don't think you're very serious about this, so I'm just not gonna waste my time with you.
What?
Oh,
The fuck?
okay.
I have never heard a recruiter ever say that.
That's
An Air Force
crazy.
recruiter. You hadn't talked with one of them, they'll say it. They will. So there's the Air Force recruiting office was here, right? The Marine recruiting office was off to the left. If you're facing the building, Marine recruiting office to the left of that. Army National Guard was to the right of that, and to the right of that was the Army Active Duty office. I walked in there, and so I started talking. No, I went to the National Guard office first to see what they have. And so this guy was a trip. He said, what you want to do? I said, I don't know, man. What you got? Well, it depends on where you score in the SFAT. I said, I've taken that before. What'd you get? 70 something. Well, I have to look it up. I don't have time right now, man. Here's what you do. See this door right here? Yeah, go in there. Okay. It was the active duty office. So I walked into the active duty Army office. I said, yeah, I'm just here to see what the Army has to offer. So he said, so you want to join the Army? I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. I said, what do you have to offer? Well, we can get you signing bonuses. We can get you plenty of jobs the Army offer, in pretty much whatever field you want. You know, you got student loans? I said, yeah, we'll pay them off for you. I said, well, where do I sign, Sergeant?
Wow.
So that was the hook. I'm going at this point, right? Can't nobody tell me shit. I'm going to the Army for that deal. All right. So I signed up. I tell my parents, I said, all right, I'm going to join the Army. Okay.
Oh, that was it?
That's it?
From my dad, yeah. Okay. My mom.
Was he surprised, or was he like relieved, or was he happy? Like,
Yeah, he was hoping I would like it and stick with it. You know, he was hoping.
You don't mind me asking, how many years did you do?
Of the Army?
Yeah,
6.
6.
And so my mom was like, "You want to sign up? You sign up now? That the war's going on and stuff like that." So, yeah, I know, but it's no big deal.
So what was this? This was Iraq War, or Desert Storm, or this was like the second
No,
Iraq
this is
War? Was
what?
was
Cold
that?
War and Terror.
Okay,
This is 2002.
2002. Okay, so it's after 9/11. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
that's where it started.
Yeah, this is 2002.
Mhm.
So I signed up early 2002 as well, man. So I
Mhm.
signed up and I go, right? No, I signed up in 2001 and I didn't ship out until 2002,
Gotcha. Mhm.
right? Shipped out in 2002 and it was cold. I remember that. That's the only thing I didn't like about basic training. It was fucking cold. So I signed up to be a parachute rigger, right? That's what I signed up to do, parachute rigger. Because it sounded cool and airborne was guaranteed. Airborne school was guaranteed in that contract because you have to be airborne qualified to do the job,
Mhm.
right? Now, here's what happened after I signed my contract. I started looking at the criteria for it, and I looked at physical fitness, 5 out of 5.
Mhm.
Whoa, wait. Why do the fitness criteria have, if all I'm going to be doing is packing parachutes, why do the fitness requirements have to be so high? Well, that's because, I mean, you might be assigned to the 82nd Airborne or you might be assigned to the Rangers or something. If you are attached to them, they might take you with them. To what? To war. Huh?
What you talk about, Willis?
I said, seriously? I said, yeah, it's nothing for them to take you with a, you're attached to the element. I said, oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Now, here's the thing. I didn't know anything at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But anyway, I go with it, go to basic training.
Where was that out of? You said it was
There.
cold, so I thought it was like it being South Carolina or some others warm place,
It
but
was it was South Carolina.
it was cold.
Cold.
Mm.
It's January.
It was probably cold
Oh,
for
okay.
him where he's
It's
from.
January. So, I mean, it was cold, right?
Mm.
So I remember that. No, but I did pretty well there. I never got in trouble. I thought I was. I was going to get in trouble for laughing. I'm like, they're going to nail me for all this laughing I'm doing. But I could
They
never.
didn't
The
roast
drill
you for that?
Huh?
They didn't roast your ass for that one?
I didn't get loud with it. I was like, it's kind of like,
Mm.
you just kind of hold your head down.
Yeah.
And the drill sergeants, they know what they're doing. They know what the shit that they're saying is funny. They
Mhm.
know it.
Mhm.
They know it. Okay. Like one time they get in front of this guy's face. And I'm sure you've seen videos of this before. One drill sergeant's like this close to the guy's face, and he's just yelling at him with the knife hand in his face. Then another drill sergeant comes from the left side.
Yeah,
Comes from
yeah.
right. You got 3 people yelling at this, and I'm just sitting there like, oh,
You're trying to laugh. Stop laughing. Yeah.
this kid is breaking down, man,
Mhm.
crying.
Mhm.
So anyway, but it's stuff like that I was laughing at. And one that really sticks out to this day was doing marksmanship. And it was after that, and we were cleaning weapons, right? We're back in the barracks, we're cleaning weapons. And this kid's sitting there crying because he's homesick. And so drill sergeant comes over. What the fuck is your problem, numbnuts? He starts praying, right? And so the drill sergeant's like, I do not have time for your bullshit, and neither does God. God hates you. You understand that? God hates you. And I was like, what?
Bro, I gotta be honest with you. Like, I hear some crazy story from boot camp.
All right.
Listen, it's a good thing I was already sitting down. Good thing.
Mm.
Good thing I was already sitting down. I'd have fell over.
I have some horror stories from boot camp. Like, you hear it. Like, but one thing that always is similar is you guys know what you're signing up for, and when you're there, like, this is a bad fucking idea. Then you see that shit, like, oh, this is community school. Cool. It's literally going to get a community school.
So they never got to a point where they broke you, or they never got to you at any point.
No, I knew what I was signing up for.
Mm.
I seen Full Metal Jacket a million. Again, it's a military movie, so I saw it 8 trillion times. You know what I mean? I knew what they. In fact, I was kind of disappointed because it wasn't that bad.
So did you ever see anybody get soaped?
No, I didn't see the blanket parties.
That did that.
I've heard about it, man. I still hear about
That
it.
scene is probably still to this day. That's like the scene that trips me out the most from the movie. The soap scene was the.
I never saw the blanket parties, but I hear about it. Like I said, I heard about them. Still hear about them to this day. But I mean, that's something people keep under wraps if they're still doing it. But yeah, you boy told the drill sergeant told that kid, "God hates you."
Mm.
It's like,
So what did he just did he drop did he make it through or did he quit at some point or did he
he made it through.
he made it through?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, you can't really quit after you sign that contract.
No, here's the thing. You can leave after you sign the contract. You can go up there and tell them, I made a mistake, don't want to do it, blah, blah, blah. It's once you sign the contract, and it's time before you ship out, they take you in this room. And it looks like a podium's there and all that stuff with the American flag and all that stuff. And once you raise your hand and you take that oath, now they got you. But now they got you. Is when you take that oath is when you got to go now.
Let me ask you a question, Mandrell. Maybe I'm wrong here, but don't you take your oath before you get shipped out to boot camp?
Yeah, the day you get shipped out.
Yeah.
Like the day I had to go down to MEPS, and we were leaving at, I forget what time it was, but it was sometime in the late afternoon, early evening. I was leaving out, and they took us in this room. I was like some weird, spooky shit. I was like, "What the hell is this?" We're in there. I'm like, "Why are we in this room?" And so we stood up, and I was like, "Oh, we're taking the oath," you know. So you take the oath. Yeah, MEPS. Yeah, like I said, I was down at MEPS, and so when I took the oath, come out, and like a couple hours later, I was on a bus on my way to boot camp or basic training.
Wow. All right, so you get through basic training. What's your first assignment? After
Got out of basic training, I went to Fort Lee, Virginia, for something called AOC, Airborne Orientation Course, something like that. Yeah, and so I get there, and that's 3 weeks of just PT all day. It's classroom work.
What you're eating? You're probably eating up at this point because you're still such physical condition from the boxing, from football, and everything else. So again, that's probably the easiest part of the whole experience was the.
Honestly, I sucked at the running part. I thought I did at least, because there's some people who are just, you got those people who with long distance, they're just out there.
Yeah.
Well,
you got a lot of fast twitch, so I mean,
sprinting was my thing. Like I was fast at sprinting. Distance, it was the breathing, stamina management. You know what I'm saying? You can't take off too fast, but you can't take off too slow either. You know what I'm saying? So it's that whole thing. Because you want to make the time.
Right.
Did you have a hard time when the whole jogging and singing at the same time?
I never had a problem, because when you're doing that, you're doing it slow. And so, like I say, AOC, you get up in the morning, you do PT, come back to the barracks, eat chow, go and you go report to the building. But they made us run there. No one drove us anywhere. We had to run there. We ran there, and we had to do pull-ups before we went inside the building.
Oh wow!
And flutter kicks and sit-ups. We get inside the building. That's where the classroom work happens, right? You learn about the parachutes, different parts of it, blah blah blah. How to use them, how to operate them. You learn how to PLF, parachute landing fall. PLF stands for parachute landing fall. So we learned how to PLF and all that stuff. After lunch, so then, we had to run back to the building, meet everybody else for lunch, to run to the chow hall, run back, and then we had to do PT again. That was your day.
Wow.
So that was that for 3 weeks. So by the time we got to airborne school, it was a breeze. Airborne school is kind of a joke. You know what I'm saying? Is it like a lot of people did it drunk, did the whole thing. People who live dangerously, they did a lot of it. A lot of guys would show up to PT formation drunk, which is not a good idea. One guy got caught and got tossed out. He showed up.
So I know your background is such where again you were the daredevil. Jumping off the roof of a house is one thing, but your first time jumping out of an airplane at what you guys up 6,000 feet, 10,000 feet? What's
it's like 3,000.
Oh, only 3,000 feet?
Yeah, no, 2,000 or 3,000 feet, man. Or 1,500 feet, because it's like they're simulating a combat. These are combat shoots, combat airborne, right? The objective is to get you down to the ground as fast as it
As soon
can
as
without
possible,
killing
yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what the C1, and I hated the AC-130. Fucking hate that aircraft. I still do to this day. Hate it, hate it, hate it. That
Why do you
was the
hate it?
worst part of being airborne. It is the most uncomfortable ride of all time.
No, it's just like very shaky as
Yes.
vibrating and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. It's just like,
Also,
fuck.
these aircrafts are not made to be comfort for these soldiers. You just when you're going long distance, you just find to park your ass anywhere and everywhere. Am I right or wrong?
Hmm?
When you're in these aircraft, sometimes long distance, they don't have seats for you guys. You just park your ass anywhere in any place.
There's seats on it, barely. If you
That's
can
my
call
point.
them that. But yeah, it's just sucked. It's a horrible ride. I was so look. That's what made me do my thing. Okay, once you get airborne school, you get airborne school, you're doing your training. You do run everywhere, but it's kind of an airborne shuffle. It's kind of a slight trot.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you have to run in your boots. I'm like, why are you? This doesn't hurt. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then, but airborne school was cool. It was 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks, and it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
Morning PT was the hardest thing about it. Jumping out the airplane, I didn't have a problem with that. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it. If this guy in front of me can do it, I can do it.
Right.
But you have to remember your safety checks and the whole 9 yards, because before you jump out the airplane, before you get to jump week, you're training. Like there's a zip line. You have to hold on to the zip line, slide down the zip line. You have to let go and let yourself fall in the gravel pit. And then you have to practice your PLF, your parachute landing fall. And you do that over and over and over and over and over.
So muscle memory, right?
Over again. Yeah, it's all day with that.
Now, the first question I got for you right now is, when your first jump, your real first jump by yourself, was it exciting? You were shooting your ass, or you're like, okay, let's do this?
I think my thoughts was when I was on the aircraft, I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this shit. I'm actually gonna jump out of a fucking airplane.
Thank you.
What's wrong with me?
Somebody agrees with me.
So anyway,
here's the thing I need to tell you. For my first year, next year I'll be 40. I'm trying to convince this guy up here.
I got no
40th in Maryland.
I have no desire to do that. But like I said, I'll support your efforts. We can start a GoFundMe right now to support your jump out the airplane, man. But that's just not on my bucket list. It just isn't,
Yeah, but yeah.
Would you at least jump? Will you come help me jump out of the plane next year?
Yeah, if I can make it up there. Because you probably, if it's your first time, you're gonna tandem jump somebody.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing myself. I'm not that fucking stupid. I might be crazy, not stupid.
And keep in mind, these are static line jumps, so it's like there's no ripcord for me to pull except for on my reserve. So anyway, I made sure I did everything correctly, because you can fuck up and die. So you're sitting there with your static line. You hook your static line up to the aircraft. This big ass, long ass metal cord that's in the aircraft, and so the guy in front of me, he's holding it with this hand, right? But he has his static line on this side of him, right? But the door is also on this side. So I'm like, okay, if he hands the jump master that static line and then turns and jump, this thing's gonna take his head off. So I remember grabbing the static line with one finger and just he reaches behind. He's like, "Thank you."
Wow.
Because everyone's afraid to talk on the aircraft, because no one's getting in trouble and all that stuff. And plus, everyone's a big bundle of nerves. Everybody, even myself, I had butterflies. Like, I played it cool. I was like, let me see and go to sleep. So I sit there and go to sleep, and people like, wake up. Why? We haven't even taken off yet. I didn't understand the point. Like, why? Like, wait up when it's time to go. I don't need to be here for this. You know what I'm saying? So then I'm walking up the first jump. I'm walking up to the jump master. I'm like, okay, don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. So in order to stop thinking about it, I paid attention to everything that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Safety checks. Okay. I don't want to crowd the guy in front of me. I want him to be at least arm's length away from me, right? Like this. So then he's walking, but he slowed up. I slowed up. And then he got to a point like it's everyone's slinking. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's going fast, slow, fast, slow. I'm just like, hurry up and get the fuck out of the aircraft. I want to get this over with.
Mm-hmm.
So I hand it off to the jump master, and I don't even look down because there's no point. Because all I see is landscape.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they say don't look down. It doesn't matter at that point. It doesn't, because you see it anyway. The only way to not look down is to do with your eyes closed, but you can't because you don't want to miss the door. Right. You don't want to fuck up. So I got to the edge. So I just and I jumped out as far. I got to the edge of the door with 2 steps and jumped out as far as I could, far away from the aircraft as I could. And I did the count: 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And that's why when I hit 4,000, I felt my parachute coming out. And went. I remember feeling so relieved when that canopy opened. I was like, "Whew, hey, this is kind of relaxing."
Right.
Hey, it is so quiet and peaceful. When your descent to the ground, there's nothing like it.
Right.
It is so quiet, peaceful, and serene.
Right.
So then it comes to the landing, right? Feet and knees together. Knees slightly bent. Toes pointed towards the ground. So now I'm coming in and I'm just like, okay. You're supposed to flip over when you hit the ground. Your leg's supposed to hit the ground and you're supposed to roll
tumble,
over.
right?
No. I just went poof. I just laid on my side. So I collapsed the canopy, collapsed my canopy, get up, please up my gear, went turned over to the cadre, and that was it. You know, let's do it again. Tomorrow, airborne. All right. All right.
And the rest is history after that. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's one jump during jump week that I almost got fucked up on. Okay. You know, on your descent, you can steal someone's air, which causes them to just go straight down.
Sink that, yeah.
Speeds up the descent. So I don't know how I was, but I was very close to the ground. Right? Because I'm getting ready to land here. All of a sudden, I see a canopy come out of my left eye, my left periphery. I'm like, what the hell is this? Directly underneath me. And then after that, I just went, shoot. I said, oh, fuck. And I landed on my feet.
Let me ask you another question, man.
And I felt that all the way up my spine. It's like every bone, you know how you pop your back? It was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna ask this question: during your jumps, did anyone ever freeze during your training?
No, you don't want to do that either.
Yeah, you kissed the plane. I heard.
Huh?
You kiss the plane if you do.
No, you know, if the cadre had to pull, if the jump master has to pull you off the line, you're done. They're gonna kick you out of airborne school just on that alone.
Wow. All right, so let's advance a little bit. So okay, so you get through airborne school. Now, from what also you've said in the past, you're also a pretty good shot. Now, where did that take place? Was that in basic training? Was that in airborne, or did that come later? Where did the sharpshooting come in?
Basic training started there. That's when I noticed I was a good shot. Because you do a marksmanship training, and at first it's the weird. This might sound, I don't know. But anyway, when I first shot my M16, I still remember my weapon number is the number 81. Okay, shots were everywhere. I didn't understand what was going on. I'm aiming center mass, with the iron sights, but I couldn't zero it. So then the cadre, Mandrell, pulled me off and went to the armorer who was out there. Anyway, I gave him. He said, "Give him your weapon." Gave him a weapon. He does something with it for about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes. Gives it back to. I get called back to the truck. He hands it back to me. So, all right, now let's go try it. Everyone else stops because everyone else is done qualifying. Not qualifying, but zeroing. So they give me a 3-round magazine. Go ahead. Center mass. shots are right on top of each other. I mean, a group this fucking small. You know what I'm saying? And so they gave me another magazine. Try again. So I take my 3 shots. All in all, they gave me three 3-round magazines, and them shots were right on top of each other. They were right on top of each other. That's when I noticed this shot. So my groups are really tight. So all we had to do is make the adjustments. As far as making the zero. Then when they got right there on target, my group was really, really tight. So that was good. Yeah, M16.
Now, do they still issue those now? Is that still, because that goes back to like Vietnam days, doesn't it? I mean,
I don't know, but that's what
it's still I'm just wondering now, is it still standard issue, or have they gone to an it's still standard issue? Okay,
M14 now, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought I remember hearing somewhere where they retired and now they got a new one that they issue now, but I could be wrong.
Working on a new one for a while, but it's been issues, production issues, but nothing works as good as the M16. It's one of the best.
Bullshit. Even back then.
Please.
The Optimov Kalashnikova model of 1947. That has always been a superior firearm to the M16A2 assault rifle. That's why everybody in the world gets one. It uses it. The AK-47, Optimov Kalashnikova model of 1947. That's what it is. That's the full designation for it. But yeah, that's always been a superior weapon. M16, they're terrible in desert environments because you have to it's a good weapon, but you have to clean it all the time. You have to keep it clean and oiled.
Right.
And sand gets everywhere.
Right.
So I just like my time in Afghanistan and the M4, yeah, that's what we used. When we got deployed, once I got to my especially when I got to my ODA, yeah, we use M4s. Anyway, fast forwarding. I go to go to AIT and all that stuff. Then I get to my unit. And then we get in a formation. They're like, and then there's a guy who wants to go to RIP, Ranger Introduction. Now RIP I knew a little about. Talking to the guys at Airborne School and everything in Fort Benning, RIP was no joke. Even the guys like now who are former Delta operators, they'll tell you, hey, RIP, no joke. No joke. Every day was just brutal. I'm like, yeah, but you can do anything for 3 weeks, can't you? So then there's like, okay, who wants to go to Special Forces selection? So I started asking questions. I said, okay, weapons. So I'm asking questions, what is that? What is it all about? And stuff like that. What do Green Berets do? They're telling me. And I'm like, okay, so what happens if I go there and I don't make it? Then you come back here. Back to my unit? Yeah. The way I look at it is, what do I have to lose?
Now, is Green Berets, is that still the official title of the group, or is it special? Because you mentioned Delta, you mentioned special. So, is still designated as Green Berets?
Special Forces, U.S. Army Special Forces. Those are the Green Berets.
Okay, but you also have Rangers, right?
U.S. Army Rangers. Yep.
But they're different.
Let me follow up with another question. Which order is it? Rangers, Green Beret, Delta? What's the order?
There's no order. You can join anyone at any time. But here's the thing: if you say you go in and you join the Rangers, right? Well, there's only so many slots for promotions and stuff like that. So the quiet secret is that people go SF, Special Forces, so that they can get promoted. The twist is that they'll tell you shit like, well, you better make it, because if you don't have a job here anymore. Because if you ever leave, at that time, and it probably still this way today, people say it all the time, that the only way you leave Ranger Regiment is either you're dead or you get picked up by Delta. That's it. You either go Delta Force or you die. That's the only way you leave Ranger Regiment. Other than that, you seem like a filthy traitor or something like that.
Well, what's the toughest? Because there's always that discussion, especially with the armed forces, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers. Who's the top of the top in terms of the elite in your view? Because I'm sure if I ask someone else, they're going to say something different.
There's no view. There's no debate. There's no discussion. Delta Force has the
Thank you.
toughest
Somebody agrees with
selection.
me finally.
Delta Force has the toughest selection process on the planet. They're not looking for the best person for the job. They're looking for the right person for the job. Because they're not just looking at physical stuff like that. They're looking at your character. Who are you? Are you going to be able to, you know what I'm saying, do these things and sleep? Like a lot of the things that Green Berets look for are the same things that Delta looks for, but Delta dives deeper, man. You'll sit there and we'll sit there in that board, and they'll tell you the board is way more brutal than the Green Beret board is. Because the board is as they sit there and ask you questions, personal questions about themselves, and they're trying to gauge your personality. You know, so yeah, Delta, hands down.
Right.
Hands down. Like I said, there's no debate. You might get
And did you flirt with that? So you joined the Green Berets, but
yeah, I flirted with it, and it's something I was looking into. Like I was thinking about doing it. What, like once I wanted to get some Green Beret experience first, right?
Sure, right.
So like I said, I get to my unit. It was like my third day there. There are people asking who wanted to go to RIP. Anybody want to go to special forces selection? I said, I'll do it. For what? I go myself. The new guy. You know what I'm saying? I go. I get selected. Now, special forces selection was a trip. Like it was a trip, man. Like the first week, we were on our own, and the part that scared me the most was that land nav. But here's the thing, people. All you got to do is pay attention to what they tell you. You got it. Because land nav is not hard. You know,
What is land nav?
Land navigation. Like they give you a map, some grid coordinates. You got a compass and a protractor. You either figure out where you are on the map and where you're going. So then once you figure that out, you shoot an azimuth, and then use your compass to look at the degrees. Now, whatever the degree is, you figure out on your map. You look at your compass, and that's the degree. That's the direction you get in. So the easiest way to do this is you find the degrees. Okay, now what's down there that I can go straight to from here? It could be a stop sign. It could be a tree with a pair of underwear in it. It could be a turtle, a rock, whatever. Yep. So that's all land nav is. You know, you almost can't fuck it up.
Right.
You don't. If you pay attention to what they teach you, you won't get lost. But you have to, that's all there is to it. To land nav. I was afraid of it because in basic training, we went over it for like a couple of days, for like 3 days, and that was it. We didn't.
Right.
It was a bunch of smoking.
So how long were you in? So I know you said you enlisted 2001. You got deployed, first deployment 2002. By what time were you? Did you land Green Berets?
Oh shit. So I got through selection. Let's see. Then there's a Q course. The selection is the tryout. So it's the tryout, not to be a Green Beret. It's the tryout to try out.
Gotcha.
Because it's a tryout to train to be a Green Beret.
Gotcha.
Because the Q course is short for qualification course. That's the training. That can take you. For me, it was about 2 years. Yeah, the training was 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
And I took a fast route. To me, I got extremely lucky. It was the fastest and easiest route. My language school was Spanish. My MOS was 18 Bravo. So weapons. Weapons sergeant, right?
Yeah.
So that took me 2 years. Now, God help you if you are a Delta. You sound to be a Delta. You're looking at 3.5 years plus. And wow. God help you if you're a Delta and you sign up for a hard language like Arabic or fucking Asian, an Asian language. Holy shit. When your language school is like 8 months by itself, some of those language schools are about close to pushing a year, man, just in language school. Then if you're a Delta, you're qualified to perform surgery right there in the battlefield. You're stitching up arteries. You're pulling bullets out of people. You're performing no bullshit actual surgery on people. That's why the school is so long. It's, no, not for me.
Gotcha.
I just didn't want to do all that. Let me learn how to save a life. I don't need to be a doctor. Okay, I'm here because I didn't want to go to medical school.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know,
Right. Right.
you know.
All right. So going down the timeline, two plus years get into Delta. Now you're into now, and again, as much as you can discuss deployments like major. So I guess is Rack War still kind of going on this time? Were you just playing those? What theaters did you find yourself in that again that you can share without giving away too much?
Iraq and Afghanistan, definitely because it was 7th Group, you know, and so, but everybody got a taste of Iraq and Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
Your SF, you're going to get a taste of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there was went there, went down to South America, which is our actual AO. We're training some people there and all that stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you train the local. It might be a local militia. It might
Mm-hmm.
be a security force, like their police department and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you go train them on tactics and weapons and stuff like that. And then, you know, your off time, you know, I go down and just do marksmanship training. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
really think I didn't think I was that good with a pistol, but boy, did I get good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, did I get good. You know.
But yeah. But let me ask you this: like how because I know again you have the different branches, and again depending on who you ask, they may say something about there being elite. I know about the like I think SEALs, especially get with Bin Laden and whatnot, SEAL Team 6 and whatnot. They get a lot of the flash and whatnot. But how does like either a Delta Force or a Green Berets work in conjunction? Contrasting to the SEAL teams or other special forces type of teams. Are you guys like the first ones to go in, or do you guys do special stuff? So how does all that work together?
Well, if there's any kind of theater of war, Green Berets. Well, the Green Berets are in 90 different countries at any given time. We're in 90 different countries right now, as you see here.
Okay. Yep.
So if there's a theater of war, we've been there for years.
Mm-hmm.
Delta, who the fuck knows? Those guys are ghosts. Okay,
you're not supposed to know.
You're not supposed to know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What was your military? Specialty in the U.S. Army. Oh, 18 Bravo, Special Forces Weapons Sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Delta. I've worked with them, which was I found myself fortunate enough to do that. I thought it was a blessing. You know what I'm saying? It's something I do not take for granted at all. They know how to party when it comes to combat. When it comes to combat, they know how to party. I mean, it's just like those.
Andrew, I do have a question for you.
When I worked with them, I was like, that's when I figured it out. That's when I figured out what I wanted to be. I want to be that. I want to be that. So that's when I started making plans to go to Delta selection.
Mm-hmm.
Injuries piled up, man. Because if you're in that, you're gonna get something. You're gonna sprain an ankle, herniated disc, bulged disc, and you're not gonna get it seen. You're not.
Now, where do you think all that came from? Because I know again you had a long boxing career. Injuries come. Football definitely you can get injuries. You talked about jumping out and the way you landed and how it makes mess your spine up. So where did you find these injuries starting to accumulate to a point where it was like, that was looking less likely? Was it an acute incident, or was it just a compilation of injuries and things over time?
Yeah, man. I was standing there cleaning a weapon, right? All of a sudden, my lower back, it felt like I got stabbed in it, right? And I had to sit down, and I had to lean over. I sat down, I had to lean forward, to sit down and to keep the pain away. But it hurt. Never felt pain like that ever. It was just in that one spot. I was like, okay, there's a fucking problem here. It just got to the point where it's like, what are you gonna do? And then I go to the doctor. Finally, after about 35 minutes, pain went away enough for me to be able to walk. It was still there. Every time I took a step, my right foot, it hurt.
Oh wow!
So, I can't pinpoint what it was that did it. It could have been from the blast because you're gonna get blown up. There's demo. Everyone cross trains in demolitions. You know what I'm saying? We all did. That's how we know about the guy over in Las Vegas. That's why you got Green Beret saying he wasn't trying to hurt anybody,
Hmm.
because that was one of my red flags. I said, wait, he wanted to blow something up. What? No, a Green Beret is not going to set a bomb. It's not going to make a bomb like that.
Hmm.
Oh, you did a shit job,
Hmm.
or you weren't trying. You were up to something else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what made it squirrely to me. That
Hmm.
situation in Las Vegas. I was like,
Hmm.
people. He was trying to kill people. Wait, was he though?
Hmm.
Because that's not. If I wanted to make a V bid, that's not how I would do it, and that's not. And I wouldn't use a bunch of fireworks.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was all the way wrong.
Right.
Like I said, we all know how to make bombs and
Hmm.
explosives. We all know how to use demolitions. How
Hmm.
good you get with them, that's up to you.
Hmm.
How much you want to train with them. And that's the thing. That's what I loved about it. There was always something to learn. I was always learning.
Hmm.
There's so many different options to learn whatever. Like for PT was jujitsu.
Hmm.
I remember that. Combatives was a big thing in PT. We just
Hmm.
combatives a lot of time,
Right.
And that's why you sometimes see some guys with these big fat bellies in Green Berets. You're like, how the
Hmm.
fuck that fat fuck get into Green Beret? He didn't get here like that, people.
Hmm.
But oftentimes PT is on you. How
Right.
fit you are is largely on you in that environment. It's big boy rules. No one's
Hmm.
gonna hold your hand. But when
Yeah.
it comes to time for you to take a PT test, you better pass.
It's funny you say
No.
that because when I worked for the Toby Hanna Army Depot during PT test time, every year you have to do an annual test. You see the gym flock for every guy, running, jumping jacks, and everything. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I asked one of my buddies, like, it PT test time coming around. I'm like, oh,
Too
that's
late
why.
then for me. When you're growing up, did anyone encourage you? Consider JROTC in high school? No, nobody did. No one encouraged me to do JROTC.
Well, like I said, you
Uh,
weren't even interested at the time. You weren't, like I said, the
right.
military was the last thing on your
But
mind at that point.
I do have a question from a back chat on my side. It was asking, do you know what is I might be pronounced this correctly, so IFLY?
What do you mean? Hold on.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat because I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right. Here we go.
But while he's looking at up, I had a question. Given your martial arts background, and I haven't seen a lot of martial artists, and I've asked this in a few places, never got an answer. How would you rate the level of martial arts training in the military, given your background in combat sports and martial arts? Does the military really prepare soldiers for hand-to-hand combat? Is it good fighting technique and whatnot, or is it just to stay alive? Or how would you assess it overall? Again, given your background, or do you think, or would you like it changed to maybe something else?
It's competent, and it makes you competent. But don't walk around thinking, okay, say you don't have a fighting background, but you make it through selection, you make it through the course, the Q course, because Q course is wild. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you go through this thing called Robin Sage, where everything you learn,
Think vaguely, I've heard, yeah.
Your MOS, the language, everything you learn,
Mm-hmm.
you have to use in that. But see, that's their experience. He was a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you competent, but how good you get is still, again, it's on you how good you get. But if you go up against someone who's like 5 years fighting, that person wrestled in high school and now they take boxing, don't go up to that person thinking you're going to kick their ass. That person has a fighting background
Mm-hmm.
in hand-to-hand combat, not you. Okay, some Navy SEAL found that out. Went into an MMA gym, challenged got to a fight, gets his ass whooped. Well, he's a
Mm-hmm.
SEAL, number one. That's what happens. Those guys are idiots. They are, man. Listen, I'll say the vast majority of Navy SEALs, they're rock stars. Okay, anyone who makes it through BUDS, you're a rock star.
Right.
But there's something going on with that culture. Well, they've got some rotten eggs, man. It's just good fucking God, dude. It got to the point in Afghanistan we didn't want to work with them. We refuse. Like, a lot of ODAs refuse to work with just. We have some SEALs.
Well, again, it seems like a lot of the media attention is on them, right? There have been movies made about them. Again, we knew about them at Bin Laden. You know, it just seems like they're at least the way they're pitched is like they're the rock stars of the military. You don't hear about Delta Force or even Green Berets. That's like my grandfather's time. I remember that original movie 1969 with John Wayne.
Yeah.
But that's about it. It's like people ask, do they still have Green Berets? I mean, it's not something that just like but SEAL Team 6 or that kind of thing. That they are the new thing, not necessarily the best thing, but that's how it seems to be promoted in the eyes of the common American person, that they are it.
It's like this. In Afghanistan, they ended up getting pulled out of Afghanistan altogether. The SEALs did. Look at all the. Let me guess. SEALs, Marines. No, they're not acting like Marines. They're acting like idiots. In fact, listen, we refuse to work with them. No, give me some Marines, please. Please, can you give me some Marines? The Marines over there, send them over here. Yeah, let me have them. Or some Rangers. Give me the Marines. Give me some Rangers. Need those SEALs over there. Let them keep fucking up on their own. Okay? Because they fuck up all the time. Like, just missions are just botched. Okay. The battle at what do you call it? Roberts Ridge. They fucked that up. Absolutely disaster. The which one? Shit. The Bin Laden raid. That was a failure. Epic fail. Epic fail. Why the fuck were you there for 47 minutes?
And it could have been worse. I mean, yeah, one of the choppers went down. I mean, there was, yeah.
So why the fuck were you there 47 minutes?
Mandrell, I have a theory here. You might disagree, and you probably will. I think the U.S. government is using them as the front right now,
as a recruiting tool, because they fucked up operations.
As like they want to cover up who's really doing the missions, like Delta or Green Berets, whoever it is. They're covering up using SEAL Team 6 because now all of a sudden, remember back in the 90s, Delta was the front of everything. We hear all from And here's the other: why are SEAL Team 6 talking? Please correct me wrong, but isn't the special force community supposed to be hush hush? You don't talk about shit. It happens.
Well,
see, that's us, the Green Berets. We're the quiet professionals, except Tim Kennedy, and fuck him too, by the way. Yeah, he's been excommunicado officially.
Let's get into that a little bit, because again, we were gonna. I'm also being mindful of the time. Also, there's a lot of buzz that I've heard over the last couple of weeks. I'm sure this has been going on for a while. I just kind of fell into this conversation. I reached out to you and Pete about it. There seems to certainly be a lot of chatter, a lot of guys trying to make name for themselves in the SOPS community about they're embellishing the truth, or maybe not even the truth at all. Maybe they might be trying to tell the story of someone else and they just taking credit for it and whatnot. There just seems to be a lot of chatter in that community about, well, I did this and I did that or whatever, whereas the SOPS community is saying, no, you didn't. So what is going on there in that, where you see just outright folks calling other folks out from that community to try to get, to kind of squash noise? But it seems like it's very lucrative, though. These guys are getting deals, they're getting marketing, they're making money from selling themselves, but the real is something different. So what do you think of all this chatter that's been going on out there as of late? And it seems like some of these guys in the SOS communities, they say, look, enough of this. And what is going on from your view, from your vantage point?
Well, Tim Kennedy's a liar. He lied flat out about having valorous awards. He has a bronze star. He has a bronze star, but he claims it's a bronze star with valor, and it's not. And he wrote this book that nobody read. None of us read it. None of us read that book. So that's why people looking at us like, why are you just now saying anything? We don't read those fucking books. Listen, you want to go talk, go do that. Go talk, go make your millions, whatever. We're not going to look at you the same, but whatever, dude. have it. Now the
Mm.
SEALs, Operation Red Wing, epic fail. Now
Mhm.
here's
Fair. That was a
here-
disaster.
here's here's one that I blame the entire Navy for this one.
Mhm.
You ever see that movie, um, Lone Survivor?
Yeah,
Heard of it. I haven't seen it, but yeah,
seen
heard
it.
of it. Mhm.
I think it was a good movie overall, to be honest with you.
99.9% bullshit. That is not the way it happened. That was Operation Red Wing.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
A famous fuck up. Just like Roberts Ridge. Okay. Now here's what happened. They go up there. This situation comes up. SEAL Team 6. No, we don't want to do that. First, they bring it to Delta. Delta's like, that's a loser. We're not doing that shit.
Mhm.
First up, Delta, the best of the best of the best in the entire military. You do not get any more elite than Delta Force. They take one glance at it. That's so no. We're not doing that shit. Whatever. Well, we'll give it to SEAL Team 6. Go ahead. That's kind of like literally their reaction. Go ahead. SEAL Team 6 looks at it. They think about it. No, we're not doing that. But then here's these little SEALs. First, they're going to send Marines to do it. Marines are like, well, let us do it. But the SEALs, they big dick the Marines out of it. Okay. And they go in there and they botch it. Look what happened. You got one guy who survives. He makes it down to that camp with those Afghanis there. Okay, who comes pick him up and get him out of there? Us, the Green Beret. Okay. Now the story makes him look like this hero who fought with alongside his men and everybody. You know, they all fought in a blaze of glory. Here's what happens with Marcus Luttrell. Marcus Luttrell was found, and the word is that every magazine in his kit was full.
Mm.
So
He fired a shot.
he even said it one time. He even said it on an interview, like he gave up in the fight. And then there's another podcast he was on where he kind of told the whole story. That incident happened. He's back at Garrison, I guess, and the Navy comes to him. They give him lawyers. They give him a publicist. They send him to public speaking classes. They send him to media training. They wrote a book. Like he didn't even write the book, but he's getting paid off of it. He's made millions off of this lie. Like he was this hero and he wasn't. Now, if you're in combat, you're bitched up. Okay, it happens, I guess. It didn't happen to me, thank God. But I mean, yeah, he bitched up and he left. And he left one of his guys on that mountain to die. That guy lived for a few days, if not a few weeks, longer than that. You know what I'm saying? By himself. He lived for a few days by himself on that mountain, and Marcus Luttrell left him there. That's the real story.
Now,
Yes, he ran from a fight, and he dropped his weapon in the whole 9 yards. It's like, okay, if that happened, I'm like, yeah, that sucks, but I can live with it. I can get past it. It's all this other shit. He's getting paid off of a lie. I don't like that. So I mean, but he's come out and said that how the Navy gave him all these lawyers, publicists, all this training, and they said, okay, this is what you're gonna do now. This is your assignment. Tell this story. You know what I'm saying? And they use it as a recruiting tool, and they did wrong for it. Tim Kennedy, he does it for money. He just lied flat out. And the thing is, the Green Berets, they're not gonna have that shit. A lot of us just want to go away, live a nice, quiet, normal life. And just, no, we don't want to talk. You don't need to know that. You know what I'm saying? It's none of your business. If you want to find out, sign up. It's worth it. It's worth it. Now, one school, I'll tell you something about Green Berets. I wanted every school except one. Special Forces Combat Diver School.
Why is that?
I did not want that. I did not want that one. Listen, when I found out what he had to do to fuck that.
Oh, I mean,
well, that's the divers. So that's swimming. That's water.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
the water. That's what.
that's correct.
So now go back. We want to come back to this because you said swimming wasn't something that you excelled at least growing up. So how did you get through even the classes that you did where swimming was a requirement? How'd you
Right.
navigate that?
So in SF, there's a swim test, right?
Mhm.
There's a standard size pool, right? 10 feet on the deep end, it's like 3 feet on the shallow, right?
Mhm.
You have to get in the pool, back up against the pool, right? While you're in there, you have to
Mhm.
swim from one end and back, right?
Mhm.
But you have to do it in BDUs and boots.
Mm.
Did you catch that? Did you?
Wait a minute. You had to do it in what?
You have to do it, but you have to do it in BDUs and boots.
Okay, got it.
You know how hard it is to do that? How much drag
Well,
that
sure.
causes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you looking at me.
Now,
I'm
Major,
not a
let me ask
strong
you a
swimmer.
question. Don't they drown you during the training course?
No, not in that one. No. Now the other course, they don't drown you. They don't drown you in it. Now, if you do drown, they resuscitate you.
Mhm.
Here's why people think that you do silly shit like they'll they'll tie your hands behind your back and tie your ankles together, tell you to
Mhm.
jump in the pool and swim.
Hmm. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
and then
hardcore.
that's not it. That's not all. It is. They have you tied behind, hands tied behind your back, ankles tied together. Have you jump in the shallow, jump in the deep end, go down all the way down to the bottom, touch it, swim all the way up to the top, like that, like restrained like that. And you
Mhm.
have to learn how to tread water that way too.
Mhm.
It's listen.
Extremely
I
hard.
know what I am. I know what I ain't.
Yeah.
A diver I am not. I would love to go to that school and pass. Love to. That's probably not going to happen.
It's
Now,
like
let me ask
Clint
you another
Eastwood
question
said.
really fast.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know if you can say or cannot say. I'm gonna. So if I'm out of my, if I cross the barrier, I do apologize. So Mike Murphy, they say he died trying to contact everything. Did that really happen, or you cannot say?
Remind me of Mike Murphy.
SEAL Team 6 with the Red Wing, he climbed up the mountain to make a call for rescue for evac, and he couldn't. Lieutenant Murphy, the most famous
Oh,
SEAL now.
okay. I'm not sure. He's a
Okay.
SEAL, so I doubt it. I doubt everything with him nowadays. I mean,
Okay.
I just
So
Man.
we're coming toward a close. I want to ask you
no,
one more
understand.
question.
He was that bad.
Mm.
Now, here's the thing. Fast forward, that whole Captain Phillips deal.
Mhm.
I'm the captain now. Well, what do you know? You put some SEALs in the water, the very thing that they're trained to do, and it works out. Wow, what a surprise. They're actually good at being in the water.
Yeah.
Why do you have them on land?
Mm.
No wonder
So
they're
let
fucking
me
up.
ask you the last
No
question.
wonder they're fucking up. They don't, this ain't their area. This is
Mhm.
not what they do.
Stay
They
in
do
your
the
lane,
water.
right?
Yeah. Keep them down there in Africa and where these areas where the pirates are and let them do their business. Let SEALs do what SEALs do. Leave this to the Marines and the Army
Mhm.
and the Air Force. I
Right.
love the Air Force, by the way.
Yeah.
Not
Let
really.
me ask you one last question.
Arrogant pricks, but
Yeah, and then I'll follow with two to kind of
Yeah.
close out shows. Go
I
ahead.
always towards the end, I ask one question. Tell me the most funniest stories during your service that might embarrass you, embarrass somebody else. I don't give a shit. Just give me your funniest story you have.
funny story I have.
I hope it's like dog porn again.
No, it ain't. It's not dog porn. Although the North Koreans, their soldiers. See, this is why I told you people North Korea is no match for us. Once you take them out of North Korea and they see how the rest of the world lives, you want to send them back to that?
Mm.
Also, we have 20 years of battle experience. How much experience did they have? Anyway, the Russians have been showing them internet porn, and apparently they can't stop beating off. So that's a problem. That's actually a problem for the North Koreans who are helping the Russians. Anyway, funniest story. Oh no, I think I probably told it. The one with the drill sergeant told the guy that God hates him. I don't know if it trumps that. It's um, a funny story. okay, we're at a fob, right? And the enemies they like to shoot mortars, right?
Mhm.
Because you hear mortar fire all the time. You get
Right.
used to that at some point. So it's no big deal. And we're just like, fuck, well, they just we got to the point where we're just like, fuck, where did they get all their ordnance from? Why do they keep doing this shit? Like, I mean, does anyone go to sleep in this fucking country?
Mm.
And then one of my teammates, I almost called his name out. He said, who knows? Maybe they'll get tired and go home. And it was like a television moment where everyone just quiet and just look at it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
That's funny. But the one in basic training, I don't think anything tops that.
Then at the top that. All right.
I don't think
Let
anything
me,
tops
yeah.
that.
Let me ask you. This is a question that we ask, or I like to ask every guest that comes on the show. So the whole purpose of the gray area was meaningful, but amongst it was obviously gray being active for black and white. You know, people like to look at the world in a binary sense. And if you live long enough, you're going to realize that not everything is black and white. There's a lot of gray area, so to speak, in between. And I know for a lot of military folks, you may go in very gung ho or even naive about what you may feel about the country, about your purpose for being there and whatnot. So I like to ask a lot of the vets that you're based on your experience, what you've seen, the theaters that you've been in and whatnot. What was you say is the biggest gray area that coming out of all of that when it comes to the whole global geopolitical thing, the United States or what have you? What really woke you up and to realize that, regardless of what is said, things are not as black and white as we like to make them out to be. And so what was that wake up call for you, or that moment for you where it's like, whoa, this is, what people may be talking about. You'd be like, y'all have no idea. So what do you think that is?
That my morals are wrong.
Mm.
Thinking that, well, no, not that. It's something that I always, you have those things where you feel, but you don't really know how to articulate it until you hear someone else explain it.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Bustamante, he's a former CIA analyst. He's making his rounds around social media. I strongly recommend all of you look him up. Yes. Andrew
Bustamante. Okay.
Yes.
Look
him up.
Yep.
Listen to the stuff he's saying. He's the real deal. He's described it best, in my opinion, where I was wrong to think that morals and ethics were the same thing. That was my mistake. Okay. And here's where Andrew comes in. He explains it this way. Morals are mine. That's my code, the way I live, what I think is right and wrong, my perception of right and wrong, good and bad, all that stuff. Ethic is what's given to you. So what you might think is right and wrong, your boss, your company, the company policy that you have to operate by may have a different way of looking at it. Like, okay, our way of doing things is different from people in Afghanistan, like with the Chai boys. Chai boys are these little kids that they have, these boys that they, use as pleasure, because they didn't want to lose their virginity. According to them, talking to them, they said that a man only loses his virginity when he has sex with a woman. But if you do it with a man, it doesn't count.
Okay.
So they use little boys because they're tighter.
Okay.
So yeah, that's their way of doing things. It's disgusting, in my opinion. It's absolutely fucking deplorable, and they don't need to be here anymore, in my opinion. But those are my morals. Theirs are different. And let's take Halliburton. Halliburton handled all logistics, food, MWR, gyms, food, entertainment, gyms, barracks, you name it. Halliburton took care of the logistics for 2 wars for 20 fucking years. You know what I'm saying? So what's it all about?
Yeah, money's a big.
Had to be about money. So the one that hit me is that whole thing with from seeing some of the different culture pockets in Afghanistan,
Hmm.
and things. Not only that, but things like that. Um, and just that whole thing with Halliburton.
Hmm. Hmm.
'Cause there's no way you should. I don't care, man. Come on, man. Really?
So given what you know now, and uh, obviously with Halliburton and the other places, so Florida. So again, you come from a military lineage,
Hmm.
and let's say, God willing, are you now? I know you're a recent newlywed. Again, congratulations on your marriage and everything. Do you think children is still in your future? Is that something that you will look forward to? And if so, would you encourage your son or daughter, depending on your views on that, but if he wants to join the military, let's say your son, knowing what you know now, would you still encourage him to do so? Knowing what you do, is it right? Is it what is your view that you've seen it at the very front lines of what this thing really is and the entities at play, or even ask yourself, going back 20 years, knowing what you know now, would you have enlisted? Would you do it over again? So how would you, in those contexts, how would you frame it?
Or would I go back and do it again? Absolutely, I would. I'd have taken better care of myself so I can make it an actual whole 20-year career like I wanted
Mhm.
to.
Mm-hmm.
But I absolutely would do it again. Absolutely. Absolutely. In a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I wish I could. A lot of times I wish I could turn it back time and go do it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
So
You
yes, you
know,
do miss it.
I do. Parts of it. There's some parts you miss, some parts you don't. You know what I mean?
That's in
But yeah, I
anything in
do.
life. Let's be honest here.
Mhm.
That's anything in life. Some things you really miss. Some things you don't miss. Well,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do miss it. I do. Everything about it though, I do miss. Parts I didn't like. Yeah, some of the people you met. Some of the people I don't miss them.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now my kids, what I know what I want my kids to do it? I'm not sure. Now if that's their choice, I'll support them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll help them train up in the whole nine and prepare for it in the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure if I would thrust that on them.
Right.
I don't know. It wasn't thrusted on me. It was an option.
That's true. You did come to your own after
Yeah.
not.
if I may, for a second, Mandrell, I think the culture in the military is changing around so dramatically now. From World War II to Vietnam era to Cold War to today. It's not the same that it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's changing so much. Like I'm hearing they're allowed to, they're allowed to have their cell phones in boot camp now. Like you couldn't keep your cell phone back then. Like they
I
can't
would have
even,
had a cell phone back then.
yeah. You know how they usually call you numbnuts or ball sack or whatever. They can't even call you those terms. If they get reported, they get in a lot of trouble now these days. So what kind of military are we actually bringing up now?
Pussies.
I second that.
Mm-hmm.
And to answer that question, would I advise him to become a commissioned officer? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do it. I had a lot of fun being enlisted. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I
do you
just-
learn as well? I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, commission, aren't they kind of like paper pushers and administrators? They're not,
Yeah.
they don't get in the theater. They don't know what war really is. They don't know what a cost is. They don't know, they're just kind of,
You're SF. You know what war is. You're going to get into that shit with them. Like, here's another thing, people. If you go SF as a commissioned officer and you become a team NCO, team officer,
Mhm.
you are not in control of that team. You may outrank everybody there. You do, but you don't control shit. That team
Mhm.
sergeant
Mhm.
with 15, 17 years on his belt,
Mhm.
that's the guy who actually runs shit.
Mhm.
I'm warning you. You get to an ODA thinking I'm pulling rank. Go ahead. See where that gets you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's what your team's going to say. Go ahead. See what that gets you.
Mhm.
Like that's going to be the general consensus. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, NCOs lead the way. That's right. You get more respect as an NCO.
Oh, sure. I
Because
would think so. Yeah.
everyone knows that you earned everything.
Mm-hmm.
You earned everything. You earned your spot there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you put foot to ass to get there. You bled for it. You
Right.
put the work in. Because it's not given to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because giving you things isn't respected. Officers, we're not so sure. Like you're an officer, just make us look good on paper and all that. Handle that. Do your thing to make the team.
Yeah, they sign the paperwork, right? I mean,
yeah. It's like
at
that.
the end of the day, yeah. So it's
we'll keep you in the loop now. We'll keep you in the loop and let you know what's going on, so you're in the dark. But I mean, do you really run shit?
Mm-hmm.
No. Who do we listen to? Team Sergeant.
Absolutely. Which is why I'm then going back, push back a little bit to say why then would you want your son to become a commissioned officer, knowing that he wouldn't be forged in a way that is NCOs are back, but right. So he would be missing out to an extent if he didn't go through enlisted. I mean, the officer might be the safer path, the non-combative path, or whatnot. But would he really be, as far as the character, would he get that?
I understand, but the thing is, in SF, officers are not non-combatives. They do go out, they do see combat. They do see combat, but their role is different. They're more in the strategic part, planning, things like that. But they make no mistake, they do go out with the rest of us and get into some shit. But 99.9% of the weight is on the enlisted. But it has. I would number one. Why would I recommend he goes to officer? The pay's better. It is. The pay is way better. So
yeah, that's one thing I heard before. Also, like infantry guys get the most respect, but they don't get the greatest pay.
True, the pay is better. But I had a blast with it. I just hate that it was cut so short. You know what I mean? 6 years. I wanted 20, if not 24.
Were you medical discharge? I assume.
Mm-hmm. The sad part is I had an option to stay, but I was one of those guys. I was like, at that time, I was young and bullheaded. Well, if I can't be on an ODA, because they wanted to put me behind the desk. Well, if I can't be on an ODA, then I don't want to be here.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys who went through feel the same way. Yeah.
You can't.
I had a good friend of mine who got shot 6 times in Iraq. CQ, he was on this show, and he told me when he got out medical discharge, he was 95% disabled. They give him options to go to down to Pentagon or DC. I'm not sure. Just serve coffee. He goes, I'm not doing that shit. Bored me out of their fucking mind. I'm an infantry guy, and I see where you're coming from. When I heard that first, like, are you serious? You can make so much money. That's what I was thinking. I was so young and stupid. Now that I'm older, I see why, because you enjoy this so much. You enjoy the teamwork, the family, brotherhood. You got your left, you got your right, and you got your guy pointing back you. You know you're safe out there, no matter what. They're gonna have your ass.
Yeah.
And there are guys, man, that are making content. Green Beret's making content now, particularly Valhalla VFT. He's made a video into like, it's not to discourage people, but just kind of warn you the life of a Green Beret. That's something he described, and I saw myself. I didn't experience it myself. I know a friend of mine, very good friend of mine, his wife left him like that. Like, we went on deployment. He re-enlists and everything, and back then, re-enlistment bonuses were crazy. 6 figures, okay? He re-enlists, comes back, all the money's gone. His apartment is cleaned out.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus
Nothing
Christ.
in it. Like, that was not uncommon. That was a very common occurrence in the entire Army. It takes a very strong-willed, mentally strong, and independent woman to be married to a Green Beret. Because for us, it's just like he said on I have nothing to disagree with the guy on Valhalla VFT. Nothing to disagree with him on. You have to be 100% focused on your career.
Mm.
Everything else takes a back seat, to include your family. They have to come second. You know, and for women to desert soldiers while they're downrange or while they're there, it's not uncommon. It happens all the time. I know a guy who was his kids. I think they were like 14 at the time. One was 12, one was 14.
Mm.
He had another one that was a little younger. He didn't even know his kids. Like his kids didn't really know him. They knew there was their dad, but they didn't know him.
Mm.
Because like 8 months out of the year, you're not going to be home for real. And then when
Yeah.
you're there, you're not
Correct.
really present. You know, even when you're there, you're not really present. You know what I'm saying? That's 8 months out of the year.
Mm.
Either you're not home, or when you're home, you're not really home because you have to focus on other things. You know.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, you have to continue to work out. Like it's a lot of stress on the body. You know what I'm saying? So like you need, if you're later on in your career, you need to get your testosterone levels checked, especially once you hit like 34, 35. That's when, like, you asked me, was steroids a big thing in there?
Yeah.
It was. People were doing it, but it's not like they was prescribing it to us because we weren't going to the doctors for it. So testosterone was a big thing. I saw a lot of that. Testosterone, Winstrol, stuff like that. But the other shit, Deca, stuff like that, no. Well, some people was doing it. You can tell they were doing it, but no.
Yeah.
When you get caught, you pay the consequences for it. You know, because you're not allowed to. But yeah, it's a lot of stress on the body. And exercise science it's far superior today than it ever has been ever. So, and this is what 20 years of war does to you. Like the guy in the situation in Vegas. This is what 20 years of war can do to you. I got a friend now, fellow former teammate. He's got TBI, and like I think he operates at the level of a 7th grader or something like that. I forget what the diagnosis he got, but he's got it really fucking bad.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it happens. And you asked me, would I do it again? Yeah, I would.
Wow.
I would full regalia. I go right back in there.
Wow. Well, listen, we may have to bring you back for a part 2. Usually we try to keep the show to 2 hours, and I already knew going into it. We going into overtime. We go into the after hours without. If you be willing, we'd love to certainly have you back. But I gotta ask this question before. What's that?
Maybe we get back into. Yeah, we can get into the Tim Kennedy nonsense.
We can get into absolutely. But I do want to touch on. Again on your personal life just a little bit, because I know when we came into this space about 4 or 5 years ago. Obviously, we're in the middle of the pandemic and everything. You got to know folks and whatnot. So I knew you were looking for certainly to be married for a long time, and I was so happy when you dropped me the note saying, "Oh yeah, guess what? I got married and everything." I was just so happy for you. So how long has it been now? It's been a year.
Next month will be a year.
Next month will be a year. So again,
you've been married already a year. Holy shit.
Yeah. So biggest lesson so far, was it everything you expected to be? Was the biggest thing you've learned so far on your new marital journey? And what are you looking forward to in the future? And again, that could also be part of our part 2 discussion, kind of going, because I want to know, again, how'd you guys meet and all. We didn't even get to. We usually like to get into how'd you meet and all that kind of stuff. We didn't even go there. But I definitely like to get into that part of the story again. But just on the marriage side, your biggest lessons learned so far as a married person, and what are you looking forward to in the future?
Biggest lesson is you cannot be selfish. Neither one of you. If either party is selfish, it's not going to work. So the best attitude to have so far that I've noticed is, it's not about you, it's about the other person. And if the other person has that same attitude about it, it's not about her, it's about you. You can get along.
Yeah.
You can work with one another. You can get through almost anything.
Mhm.
You know, but you have to put yourself to the side. You cannot be selfish.
Mhm.
You know, but also you have to give that other person space and breathing room to be themselves.
Mm. Talk about
You
it.
know, yeah, because that person is going to have quirks. They're going to have habits. You know what I'm saying? And things that you might think are weird or extraordinary, but no, it's just them.
Mhm. I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, but it's been a
Listen,
lovely experience so far.
awesome. And
I have
I'm
one
like I
last
said,
question
yeah.
before we go.
Mhm.
Is Mandrell finally coming out of retirement?
Oh, am I coming out of retirement? Maybe.
You've been saying this for a year now. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And you're spotty, but are you coming back eventually to this great world that we created?
Eventually, yeah. Because it's kind of like unfinished business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Marcus is
Have
stupid.
a
Marcus.
bunch of Star Wars episodes, coming out of Operation Hangout. So I'll be looking forward. You better show your face up there.
Absolutely.
Marcus is a Marine.
Marcus saying, where's the pussycat? Stupid.
I'd have loved to have Marcus. Listen, I would have loved to have had Marcus over there. Like, Mark, you just seen me earlier. They were asking me about the SEALs. I was like, no, we didn't want to work with the SEALs. We actively avoided them. It is like it had gotten to that point. Like it was just fuck up after fuck up after fuck up with the SEALs. They botched so many missions, and then they would big dick the Marines out of them. And the Army got to the point where we're like, especially as Green Berets, like fuck that, give us the Marines. I'm sure they want to ride. They want to go.
Yeah.
Give us the Marine. Listen, give me some Marines, or give me some Rangers. I don't need the SEALs. Not on land. Now, if I'm going out to sea, exactly. Yeah, bring the SEALs on. But like I said, it got to a point to where I think it was around 2018. The SEALs got pulled out of Afghanistan. They were that bad, man. They just they suck, and they were assholes for no reason. It's just
and fame can do that to you, go right. I mean, it's they got so far. Like I said, they were the poster child for the elites, rightly or wrongly. And you can develop an ego and an attitude or whatever that just makes you,
And people ask me all the time, well, who's better, the SEALs or Green Berets or Delta Force? It's okay. Let me tell you this. I'll put it to you this way. It takes about 10 months, roughly, to train a person to be a Navy SEAL. 10, 11 months, somewhere like that, to create a Navy SEAL, right?
Yeah.
It takes about the same amount of time to create a Ranger. It takes you a minimum of 2 years to make.
Yeah, you said 2 years for a Green Beret and three and a half plus for a Delta.
A Delta. If you're going to be a medical, because that depends on your job. It depends on your language. Your MOS and your language. You're looking at, if you're a Delta with an Asian language or Arabic, you're looking at easily more than 3.5 years. 3.5 plus.
Yeah.
You ain't even got your beret yet.
Yeah.
So Delta Force, you have to already be a Green Beret, an Army Ranger, so you or a Navy SEAL, because SEALs can travel for Delta, because they recruit from all special operations, all soft across the entire military. You have to already be elite to even try out for that. And they only do it twice a year. And if you go there and you quit, you'll never come back again.
Yeah. Mandrell, I said, time being what it is, we're going to have all this up. The chat is blowing up. Marcus, as always, Marcus always wants to come in at the end of the show with like 20 minutes left in the show and just start dropping bombs on everybody. So, again, Marcus, show your butt up a little bit earlier so that you can be more in the discussion. But I just want to thank the chat, everybody who came out tonight. Andre Terry, again, congrats to your Eagles. Earl Owens, again, thank you for your service. Also, Anton also served. So, again, all the brothers who served. Again, the good Angry Snowman was in the house tonight. So, all you guys who decided to come in with us tonight on this live, like I said, we were really looking forward to this. We will definitely, certainly with Mandrell's we'll definitely plan for a part 2. And we can get more into some things, whatnot. But, again, I just wanted to just acknowledge the chat. for your contributions tonight. And again, Lady Noel, also the Queen, she also came in tonight. So salute to you as well. So you can go ahead.
So whoever has served and like to come up for an interview, email one of us so we can schedule you guys interviews. We'll love to have you guys up here. It doesn't matter if you were Space Force or,
National Guard.
Space Force is fake.
Anyway, but I want to thank you, Joe, one more time for coming up here. Thank you, my man.
Gotcha. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
I'd like to have like the other guys you have here. Why don't you have a show where we all come up here and talk about the aftermath, like the things we deal with afterwards, like the injuries.
Absolutely.
The problem that I already thought about that actually is scheduling. That is the hardest part. Trying to get CQ, trying to get Angriel and you and anybody else. I have come up like it's Angriel travels all the time. CQ is always busy with his wife and kids. I'm gonna try to figure something out. So stay tuned.
But again, we got a lot. Again, we got a lot of guys just in the chat tonight. It was saying between Anton, Earl Owens, a lot of Marcus, a lot of guys in the chat as well. So we have that's something we would love to do. So again, you can certainly reach out to us and let us know your availability, and we can certainly try to work on a show like that for 2025. JT, certainly, in the space.
Like things like this, like weird shit happens, like memory loss. Like I have memory issues.
I hear a lot of guys have that,
and like because the story behind these attacks is not the one in New Orleans. Fuck him. The Green Beret in Las Vegas. The story there is the mental health that guy was dealing with. That's the story. Like, how did he break like that? What kind of psychotic, like what causes him to have that kind of? Because that's what I think it was. If not a psychotic break, that guy's still alive. There's just no way a Green Beret's gonna fuck that up. It just isn't. It doesn't happen. If a Green Beret didn't make a big explosion, it's because he didn't want to. That's it. Like that, there's nothing else to it. But yeah, it's just because that guy was having family problems. That kills a lot of us too. Family problems. And I've lost more friends to self-deletion than ever in combat. And it's one person after another, after another, after another. These are guys who are hard as nails. People you look up to, like me. I look up to, like I want to be like that.
Yeah. Then
you find out it's that guy, and when it's that guy that happens to you realize now that it could be you. And one,
we can plan for that. And again, Marcus, you're right. Yeah, our show we try to keep the 2 hours. Again, we understand people got to go to work. We both, Pete and I, we got jobs in the morning we got to get to. So we try to limit the show. We can do this over multiple shows. But again, if you guys are willing, then we can certainly try to make some things happen. So again, just reach out to us. You can certainly find me on IG. Mandrell, before we go, anything you want to plug, your social media, anything that you got going on you want to plug, give you an opportunity to share what you got working on cooking in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, I give nutrition advice, and I do online personal training. You can, if you want to reach out to me for online personal training or online nutrition advice, or meal plans, things like that, you can find me on Instagram, Mandrell_21. That's normally where it goes, where people go for that. But yeah. And I'm also working on something else too for this year. I don't want to speak on it yet. I got we're running kind of a pilot program late spring, early summer. I'm going to announce it. Then I'm going to announce it once we do that.
Okay. Well, hopefully by that time we'll have you back. And again, we can keep this thing going. Again, you just let us know your schedule. But Ghost, anything else before we close out the show?
Whoever wants to come up, I just put my email in the chat. So be more than welcome to email me if you want to come up. I'll be happy. Remember, I do have a full-time job too, plus this, plus everything else. So it might take a day to get back to you. But we are working some more interviews. I am cooking on some things right now. I have a buddy of mine named Nemo. He's going to be coming up. I'm trying to get King Smith with his goddamn crazy schedule coming up here. I'm gonna lose my hair.
Shout out to King. He was in here earlier tonight also. Shout out to
Yeah.
him as well. Yeah.
But I am going to try to get as many of you. My goal for this year is try to at least have 1 or 2 servicemen or women up here on an interview at least once or twice a month. That is my goal for this year. So help me reach my goal, please. And I know that's his goal and everybody else's goal. So we want to promote mental health. We want to help promote the military. We want to help what you guys go through. Because everybody talks about the aftermath and what's going on, after he's been shot or went through an explosion or whatever. But nobody talks about how it started, what you went through, and what is after. Great example, Mandrell and Griel, CQ, they went through the whole story.
Mhm.
Let's have your story. Your
Absolutely.
story is something so special. It's your unique story. Let's talk about it. Let's explore it. Everybody has a story. I have one. Paul has one. Mandrell has one. BMU has one. Bossman has one. JT. Everybody has one. Let's explore your story.
Absolutely.
And I'll leave
Absolutely.
it at that.
All right. Well, again, thank you everyone for joining us. You guys have a great week. I'm Mr. Bennett. He is.
This is Sparta!
And this has been our special guest tonight, Mandrell. Again, love him in these spaces. Miss you out here, brother. But keep doing your thing. All the best with everything that you're doing in 2025. Wishing you nothing but the best until we meet again. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been The Gray Area. So you guys have a great week, great night. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.